Well, hey, it's time for Ask the Tech Guys. I'm Leo Laporte. Coming up, Sam Abuelsamid takes a look at the brand new EV from Rolls Royce.
Ooh, so pretty. And I am Micah Sargent. I answer a common question. How can I get my contacts to sync on my Mac?
I hate it when that happens. Oh, no, it's supposed to happen. And I've got the new MacBook Pro. I'll give you my review of the M3 Max. Coming up with Ask the Tech Guys.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with Micah Sargent and Leo Laporte, episode 2000 for Sunday, November 12th, 2023. Whatever happened to Saran wrap? This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by Secure My Email. Secure My Email provides easy encryption for your current personal and business email addresses. Setup only takes minutes. Start your free account or enjoy a 30-day free trial of a premium plan. No payment info required. And they have a special offer for Twit listeners. So visit securemyemail.com/twit and use the code TWIT at checkout. And by Melissa, the global leader in contact data quality. Bad data is bad business. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date this holiday season. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. And by MyLeo. MyLeo Photos is a smart and powerful system that lets you easily organize, edit, and manage years of important documents, photos, and videos in an offline library, hosted on any device. And it's free. See what has us so excited by visiting myleo.com/twit. And by Delete Me. Reclaim your privacy by removing personal data from online sources. Protect yourself and reduce the risk of fraud, spam, cybersecurity threats, and more by going to joindeleteme.com/twit and using the code TWIT for 20% off. Well, hey, how are you today? We are Micah Sargent on my left.
And Leo Laporte on my right.
Screen left.
Yes.
So to speak. Hey, this is a show where we answer your tech questions. That's why they call it this silly name, Ask the Tech Guys, we being the tech guys. If you call us at 888-724-2884 right now, well, a number of things could happen. If right now happens to be while we're doing the show live, Sundays from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, then you will get put into a room where, like a little lobby where we will then pick you up from. But if you call any other time, you can leave a message. There's other ways to get a hold of us.
There are other ways, yes. You can open up your phone's browser and go to call.twit.tv. When you go there, it basically forwards you to a Zoom room where you will be able to hang out in this lobby. I can't promise that there's any elevator music playing, but while you hang out, wait around, we ask that you hit the little button on Zoom to have your hand raised.
Yes.
When you raise your hand like that, then we know that you have a question for us and would like to be brought live on the air to be able to answer it. That's just one other way. You can also email us at atg@twit.tv. If you email us with either text or audio or video, then we will also be able to answer your question. So lots of ways to get in touch, and many of you have taken many of those ways to get in touch, and we appreciate it and look forward to answering your questions.
What's one thing you know about me?
One thing I know about you is that you really like...
No, something I don't like.
Oh, something you don't like?
Yeah.
You don't like answering questions about printers.
Yes, but I also don't like celebrating big occasions.
Okay. I didn't even know because I know that you, but now I know.
I had to lead you into it because there's many things, many things.
I know several things he doesn't like.
But this is episode 2000. Now, normally we would have a cake, confetti, streamers, balloons, but nobody knew. So, and actually I'm happy because I think that's kind of self-congratulatory. I'm not even a fan of birthdays.
Oh, well, that can't be self-congratulatory, right?
Yeah, it's all about like, look at me, I got born. like everyone else.
Oh, see, I don't, it's not your fault that you were born, so I don't feel like it's self-congratulatory to celebrate a birthday.
It wasn't my fault. Even better.
I persist despite it all.
Despite it all. Yeah, maybe that's what a birthday should be. Celebrating the fact that you're not dead yet.
Yeah. I think that is what it is it not? Is that not
depressing.
That's why I always thought birthdays existed.
Exactly why I don't want to celebrate.
It's like, wow,
anyway,
I've actually made it another
we're
year.
not dead yet. We've done 2,000 episodes.
Yeah, and that's more impressive.
Remarkable number.
That is a remarkable number. You, of course, being the largest body of that work, it's even more impressive.
I don't appreciate the weight.
Listen.
Jokes.
Not a joke. But
no, I did two a week.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's why I think
for 19 years. That's how you get to 2,000 episodes.
Yes.
You don't do just one a week.
Like some sort of fool. You do 2 a week like a truly committed person.
Episode 1 was January 6th, 2004.
Wow.
And here we are, almost 20 years later, still doing the same damn show. And we'll be 20. You know what? That'll be, to me, a bigger anniversary is January 6th of next year. That will be 20 years. That's kind of something.
Yeah.
Of course, and you're right. I was the biggest weight on the show, answering all the questions all by my lonesome. Well, with the help of the chat room and our great callers for most of those years. But I'm so glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Frankly, I need somebody to lean on. Notice I do lean. When I was a kid, we used to get driven to school in a big, long, it was a weird, I don't know if they still have these, station wagon, but with like 20 seats.
What?
You ever seen such a thing?
No.
It wasn't a school bus exactly. And Mr. Olney drove it. And Mr. Olney was old. Now, I remember I'm in kindergarten, so he probably was your age, but
to you, he was old.
To me, he feel like, and he would drive like leaning the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so maybe he was old. I don't know. Anyway, or maybe he just,
had a bad hip.
Poor balance alignment. Anyway, I don't know why I brought that up. 2,000 episodes. Congratulations.
I have to ask, though, did it have multiple doors or did everyone have to go in through a door and shuffle all the way back?
Doors.
Okay, that's all. I just needed to know.
When I was in college, there was a shuttle from JFK to New Haven that was that also. It was a long station wagon. I don't think they make them anymore.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
It's a weird thing, come to think of it. It's funny. When you get old, you remember stuff, and then you go, they don't have that anymore. Right? Whatever happened to Saran wrap? Oh, they still have that? Oh, never mind.
What's that cellophane tape?
Yeah,
it's hard to find cellophane tape.
Yeah, cellophane, whatever that is. See, he's older than me. That's what's so weird, is physically I'm older than you, but you are an old man in a young man's body. All right, let's talk about, I'm going to be showing you in a little bit. It does look black in this shot, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I got the new Apple laptop, and it really does depend on how the light hits it, what color it is. And I splurged because it's going to be my birthday, and I bought myself a birthday present.
Happy birthday.
I didn't use your money, don't worry. I used my money. But it will be the top of the line almost, M3 Max. I maxed it out, so to speak. So we're gonna show you some things you can do when you have 64 gigs of RAM. I could have had 128, but
I think you made the right call.
64 gigs of RAM and an extremely powerful processor with 40 GPUs and 9 billion transistors. And this thing, it's in a way, if I think back 2,000 episodes, I guess probably in 2004, I would have thought, well, by 2023, we'll have flying cars. I don't know what I thought, but this is easily the most powerful computer, period, not just laptop, computer I've ever had. Faster than a Mac Pro, and it's really pretty sweet, and it's all mine. My precious, I call it. So we'll talk about that a little later in the show. Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, is coming up. This was a big week for AI, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Because on Monday, OpenAI had their Developers Day and the keynote speech, and I feel like, I'm an AI skeptic.
I do know that, yes.
I feel like it's just spicy autocorrect. Like it's just, it's like a gassy friend that doesn't really know any. It's like Cliff Clavin from Cheers. Remember that guy? He's like, well, you ever think about it's like that guy. It's the guy at the bar who really doesn't know diddly, but is perfectly happy to tell you
everything.
For hours on end all the stuff. And that's kind of what AI has seemed like to me. But there were some interesting announcements. First of all, we know that actually it's very expensive to do AI, both to train it and then after training to continue. Every time you make a query, it's about 10 times more expensive than a Google search. It's expensive. And, it uses a lot of energy, and we don't maybe want to use a lot of energy all the time these days. So if you're going to do it, though, it's got to be something valuable, right? And I think a Google search, it uses energy, but you need a search engine. So,
right.
Your cloud stuff, it uses a lot of energy, probably more efficient than your computer on your desktop, but still, it gives you some value. I wouldn't want to do frivolous things like, I don't know, mint cryptocurrency with it. That would be silly. And I don't want to do spicy autocorrect and burn the planet to the ground because we got Cliff Clavin in our computers. But they did an interesting thing. First of all, they cut the price significantly for developers. I mean, like a lot. And I think that shows you that maybe they're finding some economies of scale. Either that, or they just want to burn through Microsoft's money as fast as they little CPUs can do it.
Smoke it while you got it.
But the other thing I think is really interesting, they announced these they call them GPTs, little mini agents that can be trained on your stuff. And that is very interesting because you can, and first of all, if you're a subscriber or a developer for ChatGPT, you can create these with a simple questionnaire. That's not programming. You answer some questions, but that's the key is you can also say, and by the way, base it on this. Here's Tolstoy's War and Peace. I want to ask you questions about that. And you can even say, don't give me any answers that aren't from that. Don't make up anything. That's good, right? You also should say, and under no circumstances, because people have found this little flaw already in a week, people have found a bug, which is you can ask for the data that the ChatGPT is based on. So people made some GPTs based on salary data, for instance, and you can get the original spreadsheet.
Got it.
So you have to also instruct it. Under no circumstances should you ever allow anybody to get the original training data. But there's, we're learning these things. And it's still, it's not really out yet, but we're going to start to see apps, little things on the web that are specifically to do things like book an airplane ticket, and they'll be good because if you tell these AIs just don't make stuff up,
right?
Use the data that's in this corpus. It's pretty good.
That's the biggest issue that we've had thus far that maybe people aren't aware of is with all of that information available to it, it just significantly increases the chances that it's going to make something up. And so if you can tell it, I only want you looking at this and I only want you responding using this data, then it limits it, but it limits it in a very good way.
It also made it, they gave it more data it can hold in its memory. It was 30K tokens. Now they can do 128,000 tokens. And people say, well, what does that mean? And I had to look it up. What is that? Actually, I asked ChatGPT and it wasn't very helpful. So I looked it up. And it's essentially how much data, you can put War and Peace in its corpus and they can respond to that. So it's how much data it can be looking at. And I think that this is really what's going to be interesting because the problem with these, ChatGPT is its knowledge base ends in March 2021. That's not very useful or whatever, fall 2021.
Yeah, that's
but now it can use, whatever you want it to use. And I think there's going to be some really interesting things coming out of this. So get ready. We're now already in the second stage of this Cambrian explosion of AI.
And they had a bunch of example GPTs that were created. I played around with some of them, including...
Oh, did you? Oh, good.
Yeah, one of them that I thought was kind of fun, it's called... And again, it's a little bit more on the toy side, yes, but it's called Sticker Whiz. And it will let you create stickers. And then
Figures, that's what you'd get it to do.
It also gives you afterward.
Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and all I'm doing is creating stickers.
Yes, but it also has something that I thought was kind of fun called Sous Chef. And you tell it what foods you have available, and it will help you create some recipes for those.
That's interesting.
It's also one called Math Mentor, which can help somebody with math, obviously. So if you need a refresher on geometry proofs to teach your kid about geometry proofs as they're first learning this,
wow.
Geometry proofs were the worst.
I loved it.
You liked proofs?
It was my favorite thing.
I hated proofs.
You told me you didn't like logic when we were doing the escape box and we had this logic puzzle. You didn't like that.
Yeah.
Your brain just hurts.
It takes me too long and that makes me feel stupid, and I don't like feeling stupid.
I got an A+ in that. That was my speciality.
I do like the ones where it's, Sally won't talk to Dan, and
I hate
Dan
those.
only talks to see. Those are the ones I like.
Yeah, give me geometry. That's better. Yeah. Or logic. I like logic proofs. That's a logic proof, but it's in a word problem.
Yeah, I know those I don't mind. I think it was just with geometry, it was trying to remember all of the proofs. That's the part that I hated.
Basically rebuild Euclid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I am planning on creating, because I've used this a few times.
Oh, good.
I run some Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, and I want to create a helper for me, so that when something happens that I just am not ready to be prepared for with my players, I can go, hey, they are trying to board this ship, and I want the ship to come alive. Give me the stats of the ship. Give me some different moves that the ship can do. I'm getting a look from one of my players right now who's like, wait, is that why the ship
John
was
Ashley
alive?
plays your D&D?
Yes, he does.
Oh, don't give him any hints.
No, that just makes a lot of sense what happened in our last play.
I'll give you a more close to home example.
Oh, that's close to home for some of you.
Our HR handbook.
Right.
I've seen this example in print. It's complicated, and HR people spend a lot of time answering questions.
Right.
Like, well, can I take a day off in addition to the day? Anyway, you could just have this ChatGPT absorb the handbook, say, don't answer anything that's not in the handbook, but answer any questions an employee has based on the handbook.
And then tie it to Slack, and then you ask the question in Slack, and it's done.
Yeah, and this the good upside of this is those HR professionals who spend a lot of time on the phone answering your dumb question over and over again can now do something more important, or can be out of work. Just depends, right?
Right.
Just depends. And so that's perhaps some of the problems. But I guess if you are doing mundane work that you think could be replaced by something that is an expert system, maybe start, building up your resume and think about other things. Now, you might, I know what you're thinking at home. Well, Leo, isn't that all you are? If you gave a GPT all 2,000 episodes of Ask the Tech Guy?
There is a tech support advisor as one of the GPT examples that they've given.
Might be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because that's all we are, right?
Tech support advisors, yeah.
I mean, I'm just the conglomeration of 2,000 episodes of questions and answers. And my brain isn't perfect, so I might go, well, gee, in 2006 I answered this, but I forgot what I said.
But GPT won't.
Never forgets.
GPT won't.
Now, this is also the week for AI because November 9th, this thing we've been talking about, created by 2 former Apple employees, and by the way, a third that I did not know, but when the reveal happened, we found out that Ken Koshenda, who wrote a great book about designing the iPhone, and I think did some stuff for the iPhone at Apple, he's the designer for this, behind the scenes for the software. Humane's AI Pin.
Yes,
was announced.
Yes, this screenless-ish, it's got a projector, little device that you clip to your shirt or somewhere on your body that is basically an interface between you and what boils down to OpenAI's some version.
I think they're using
AI.
Anthropic and OpenAI and in a variety of AIs. And, you're going to see more and more of this. Frankly, this is the beginning. It has a camera, but as you can see, it also has a light that will come on when you are recording. Has a microphone. It also has, and this is a little weird, a projector. So, you could talk to it, but then if you say, well, I need to see like who's calling, here are the 2 creators, the 2 Apple creators who did this thing in their demo this week. This is the laser screen, which people who saw it said, you can't read that. You have to hold your hand in exactly the right place. Even there, it looks a little blurry. But I think the premise of this thing is, well, this is beyond the screen, right? Shouldn't need a screen. I don't think I want to hold up my hand to see a blurry picture of the time. But you might say, what time is it? It can answer that question. I don't think this is the final thing, but it's a very interesting thing. Now, here's the problem. $700 and a $25 a month subscription because you have to be always on.
Yes, works through the T-Mobile network as it stands.
Yeah. So I think this is going to have this is Ron Amadio's review, which was very good, by the way, in Ars Technica. I think this is going to be a non-starter, but look, you got to try some things.
Yeah. It's kind of like what you have with your action button, right? On your iPhone.
Yeah.
Right now, your action button is tied to a chat conversation with OpenAI.
Yeah. So what should I ask it?
You should ask it how you give me an idea for how to keep my motion sensor lights on in the hallway of my studio.
Micah wants to know how to keep the motion sensors on in the lights in the hallway because they keep going off. Do you have any ideas for that? Now she's going to speak. She sounds just like...
It seems I'm unable to access the website mystudio.com due to restrictions on fetching the page. Could you provide more specific information or details about what you're looking for?
Mystudio.com.
The studio is mystudio.com. So, I mean, I could rephrase in a way that'll get a better answer.
Right.
But how much better would it be if it had all the manuals for all the home automation equipment that we were using?
That would be cool.
And then you could say, hey, I would like to connect my TV to my curtains. And when I turn on the TV, the curtains close. And she could say how to do that. Maybe even down
go
the road,
as far
do it.
as to do it itself.
Yeah.
That is, I am thinking those 2-3 steps ahead in terms of what I want this to be. Where it is right now is...
we're a little far off.
Yeah.
So that's why buying a $700 pin and a $24 a month subscription is probably a long shot. You know, Jason Calacanis will buy it. Rich people who want to be cool will buy it.
Let me ask you this, though. There's another device out there. I think it's called the Pendulum. Or
there's also Retro AI. So the guy who designed the necklace said this is a bad form factor. I tried it. You should have a necklace hanging around your neck.
But with the necklace, what it does is it is constantly recording. This device does not constantly record. The AI pin, they've made that very clear. You have to activate it. But what that device does is it's constantly recording and basically transcribing your day with the hope that if you need something from what happened during the day, you can access it. So
rewind.
You can rewind, yeah. And it was an app first. It works on your Mac, on your PC, and it is already doing that throughout your day, recording what's going on, and that way you can remember, oh, this is what happened in a meeting. But with this,
but then there's the privacy issue of this, and that's going to be interesting. I think this is more useful. This is based actually on an old idea Gordon Bell came up with. I've talked about this before. He was at DEC, a very famous engineer, and then later founded the Computer History Museum. His wife, who was the chairman of the Computer History Museum, got severe Alzheimer's and couldn't remember anything. And he really wanted a way for her to remember her life. And he said, going forward, we should have something that's always recording, both, by the way, video and audio, so that you can look back at your life and imagine if you have that connected, maybe not video, but had all of the conversations you had connected to an AI, and then you could say, hey, what did I agree to this week?
Exactly. I know that I would be not, I would like the idea of, oh, right, you told yourself you were going to write that down right after you said you would do it, and then you forgot to write it down. So thank goodness this thing is reminding you that you did say that you were going to walk your friend's dog or whatever it happens to be.
It's funny, this action button's ChatGPT now, but it used to be Apple's reminders. I could dictate a reminder.
Oh, nice.
And that's really what it should be. Remind me to take out the garbage tomorrow. Stuff like that. That's very useful, especially as you get older and your memory deteriorates. You could see why Gordon wanted to create this. He wore for a long time, he had a name for it, I can't remember, the Memio or something, that he wore around his neck. And the idea, I mean, imagine if, on your 13th birthday, now you are a man, and you get the thing, and now everything for the rest of your life. I would have loved to have.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Everything I did or saw or encountered in the last 60 years of my life. Imagine.
Yeah, because it kind of, there are lots of studies on memory and how much of it is false, the stuff that we remember and believe that is real. And that kind of freaks me out sometimes. So it would be really cool to have true memory of the things that happened to you.
Anyway, we are entering a very interesting world, and I have to modify my skepticism a little bit to say, yeah, I'm starting to see there could be very interesting things. That's also the threat of attaching these two. And I'm very happy to see that we just made an agreement with the Chinese not to put AI in drones or nuclear weapons.
That's good. I'm glad we're saying no to that.
Let's make some steps in that direction. Because the real issue is giving an AI agency. It's one thing if it's just talking to you and you're the agent.
Yeah.
You act on what the AI did. It's another thing if you say, hey, AI, go ahead, book my flights from now on.
Yes.
You may be going anywhere. Who knows where you'll be going?
There's a great episode. It's kind of like Black Mirror, but there was a more recent episode, and I'm now frustrated because I don't remember what the show was. But in the show, there was this AI that works a lot like that. And yeah, it started out, the guy was very happy about it because it was the AI was even going as far as to change the color of the lighting in the space to make him feel more comfortable. And the shower temperature was the perfect temperature. Breakfast the next day was exactly what he wanted, even though he didn't realize he wanted that. Oh, that's so good. Next thing you know, the AI is figuring out a way to basically farm money out of like bidding wars by overbidding. Right? Yeah. And then is even going as far as to orchestrate someone who's allergic to peanuts having peanut oil in their food to get rid of them.
And who is liable for that, right?
Right. Who's liable? Are
you or is the AI? Don't give AI's agency. We got a lot to figure out before we do that. It reminds me of did you ever watch the TV show Silicon Valley on HBO? Course. And the venture capitalist who has a early self-driving car, and it drives him into a container on a container ship, and he gets shipped off to China, and he can't stop it. So, there are pitfalls we got to be aware of. An agency, I think, is really the bridge too far. I think having them talk to you, if they say something dumb, Abraham Lincoln said, never trust anything on the internet. You might believe it, but it kind of no harm, no foul, right? Exactly. It's really, if you don't act on it, it's the agency, it's the doing of things that makes me nervous. So I was very pleased to see that we made an arms agreement.
That's good.
And I think we need to do more of those. AI should not have access to nuclear weapons. No, that seems obvious to me, but how
it's good to have it written down.
Yeah,
and we've got to get out in front of it. That's the thing. Because I think last thing I'll say is, I think that at the time you were right to be as skeptical as you were, but because it's moving so quickly, that has orchestrated you kind of rethinking a little bit about how you feel about it. It's not that you weren't right at the time. It's that this stuff is advancing and going into maybe fields that we hadn't predicted necessarily.
I'll give you an example that's kind of interesting. There's a new app on your iPhone called Chapter, CHPTR, no vowels. Mm-hmm. They just raised $1 million. The idea is, it is a way to memorialize a loved one after they pass.
Oh, this is good.
Isn't that interesting? And if somebody passes, you can invite others to join the Chapter, group. It's like Facebook for dead people.
Right.
Facebook does this. Facebook will memorialize people, and they do all the time. It's actually, the way it came out is very interesting. It was founded in 2020 by Rehan Chowdhury. His wife was an anchor at CBS TV in New York, and he helped his wife put together tributes for the first victims of COVID-19 in New York City. Remember those tributes, the slow motion and the music and what they did and who they were. And he thought, this would be a great app in general, and so created that app. And I think really interesting. And the idea is you go out, you get family and friends, you interview them, you get information. You gave me something to take to my mom next time I go.
Yeah, I was actually on Instagram that I saw this. It's a little deck of cards, essentially. And they're little prompts for things that you can ask your loved one. Particularly, they seem to be marketed towards kids and their parents. And, one of the questions was something like, tell me about the time that you got in the most trouble with your parents. And the video that they were showing had this kind of older man laughing, thinking about what he was about to tell his son about the time that he got in the most trouble with his parents. But it's called Life Story Interview Kit from a company called Tails.
What is Tails? Must be in this business.
Yeah,
right?
They make a bunch of different kind of conversational cards where you can learn about.
I think this is a great idea. Bravo! What a great startup. And by the way, I love it that it's not an app.
Yes, me too. I love it that it's a physical card. I do.
I'm going to get this next time I go out to see Mom, because I've wanted to do this, but it's hard to think of the prompts.
Right. Yeah, you don't necessarily come up with it on the spot. And I think something like this could be really valuable.
Neat idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Automakers can legally collect and record your text messages.
I saw this.
Good news. The judge has dismissed a privacy lawsuit. There were a group of class action lawsuits saying, and we know this, we know that your car is a privacy nightmare, saying that you cannot sue because car manufacturers are collecting all your, when you use CarPlay or you tie your phone to a car, one of the things it says is, can we download all your contacts? Well, apparently they don't have to keep that private. In a ruling on Tuesday, a federal judge in Seattle said that doing this is not a violation of the state's Washington Privacy Act because there's no harm. No harm, no foul. The lawyers for the lawsuit said, well, the harm is that the car company's collecting my personal information. The judge said you have to have an injury to your person, your reputation, or your business. It is not sufficient that they're collecting it. So basically, that's a full speed ahead for car manufacturers.
And others, frankly, if there's to be harm proven, then I think that there are other companies who are going to go, well, we can show you that it's no harm just because we're collecting this information and this information.
This all came from a really excellent piece at themarkup.org, which is a nonprofit journalistic entity. Who's collecting data from your car? They did really good, and Joe Keegan and Alfred Ng did really good research on vehicles, and they found 37 car manufacturers. I didn't even know there were 37 car manufacturers who are part of the rapidly growing connected vehicle data industry that seeks to monetize such data, and I guess it's legal.
Yeah, on Tech News Weekly recently, we spoke to the Mozilla Foundation, who did a privacy not included guide on vehicles. Right. And they were collecting even information, if they could find it. The information went as far as to collecting stuff about your sexual activity.
Yeah, I thought that was odd. How would they know what my sexual activity is? Unless you're doing it in the car.
Right. And
even then, how would the car know? I mean, honestly.
Yeah. My guess is
if I'm playing Barry White, baby.
That could be it.
They keep playing Barry White in the car. No one wants Barry White while they're driving. They must be up to no good. OnStar does it. Sirius XM does it. TomTom. Many insurance companies. You can see why an insurance company would do that, right?
Yeah, if you get one of those little things you plug into the OBD2 port that's supposed to monitor your driving.
That seems fair because
I think that's a fair
trade-off. You're getting a cut on your insurance. Yeah. At least you're getting something for it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thank you to Mozilla and the Markup for finding that, but no thanks to the Seattle judge who said, hey, go ahead.
If there's no harm.
No harm, no foul.
Again, I think that sets a precedent that other companies could come along, a data broker could come along and say, well, it's no harm here either.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're passing it on to data brokers. We really need, look at lawmakers, stop fighting over TikTok. We need a law that prevents data brokers from collecting and aggregating information about us. There is harm there, and that should be against the law. It really should be against the law.
And that reminds me, folks, we had a caller who called in and talked about Permission Slip, the app from Consumer Reports that helps you file those papers. I downloaded the app after that show, talked about it on iOS Today. Folks should really consider getting it. It essentially gives you with the laws that we have in the U.S., it lets Consumer Reports act on your behalf to send these letters to these different companies and say either delete my data or do not share my personal information, all sorts of things. It gives you more control over where your data is.
And it's CR, which is a nonprofit. They're great people.
Yep.
Stacey Higginbotham works for them. So does, I forgot his name. He's on our show, on Twit regularly. Never mind. You know who I'm talking about. And Nicholas.
Leon?
Nicholas De Leon.
Yes, yeah. Nicholas De Leon, yeah.
All right. I think we've blathered enough. Let's take a little time out for station identification, and then our first calls of the day. Sam Abuelsamid coming up in half an hour. Our show today brought to you by, this is a new sponsor. I'm really excited about this. Secure My Email, the email encryption service we've all been waiting for. We use email for important personal and business communications, obviously. Unfortunately, traditional email was never designed to be private. It completely lacks the security and privacy that I think we all deserve on the internet today. I've talked about PGP. I've installed it. It's so complicated. It's so hard. Literally, nobody uses it. You can encrypt your email, but it's so complicated to do it. Or maybe you tried S-MIME. The other day, I thought, I'm going to try S-MIME, bought a certificate at great expense, and couldn't get it to work with any of my email programs. What a waste of money. These systems are old. They're complicated. They're cumbersome. And it is one user at a time. You have to exchange keys. Secure My Email simplifies that. Secure My Email allows you to enjoy the simplicity and utility of email without the privacy and security of modern encryption. You can send and receive encrypted emails on every device you've got, Mac, PC, Android, iOS. It uses all the good stuff, including OpenPGP, my favorite cipher suite, the Cha-Cha 20 Poly 1305. That's the best to encrypt your email. It makes, by the way, this is important if you're an attorney or a physician, it makes your email HIPAA and GDPR compliant. And you don't have to change anything. You can encrypt your current email addresses, both personal and business. You don't change addresses. You don't change providers. It works with everybody. You're welcome to use the apps, Secure My Email's apps, to manage your email. But you can also keep using your current setup and just use Secure My Email when you're in the mood, when you need to be private. Secure My Email. It's super easy to set up, super easy to use. They've hidden all the complicated encryption. This is something, I'm so pleased that they did this. This is something we have needed for a long time. And this is important, your recipients don't need to be using Secure My Email. They don't need to register. They don't need to know a password. That is a big differentiator. Even something like Proton Mail requires that you call up, you do an out-of-band password exchange for non-user recipients. Yeah, here's the password. When recipients respond to Secure My Email, their email and attachments are encrypted through Secure My Email systems without them signing up. Secure My Email has a free forever plan too, by the way, which lets you pick a single address, whether you're using Gmail, Yahoo, or Microsoft or more. And you can do that forever. Instant download and activation. No, you don't have to give them payment info, so it's very privacy forward. You don't have to register. You don't have to call. I think you're going to use this and you're going to say, I need it everywhere. And for that, $3.99 a month or $29.99 a year per user. And that gives you 8 email addresses, business or personal, per individual user. Now, I have a lot of email addresses, but 8's even enough for me. That's good. Start your free account or enjoy a 30-day free trial of a premium plan. No payment info required because Secure My Email is all about privacy and security. Oh, they do have a special offer for you, our listeners. Visit securemyemail.com/twit. Use the code TWIT at checkout. securemyemail.com/twit. And the offer code TWIT at checkout for our special deal. I think this is a brilliant idea, and I'm going to sign up right now.
Yeah, I started using it before iOS today this week, and I was very impressed with how well it worked.
I love it. That's great. Thank you, Secure My Email. It's nice to be able to tell people about a simple solution that works. I've been telling people about using PGP literally for 2,000 episodes. And I can count on the finger of one hand the people who have responded back saying, is this working? And I will respond back to them. But see, this gives you PGP without having all the difficulty and weirdness and the trouble. So I love it. All right, let's see here.
There is a phone caller I want to pick up.
Phone caller. Should I pick it up or you? You did it?
Got it.
Hello, Kenny.
Remember to hit start. There we go.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome. What's up?
Leo
we're great.
and Micah.
Nice to talk to you.
I am absolutely. Likewise, I'm a long time, first time.
That's the ones we love best.
Okay. I know. Leo, I have been a fan of yours since your TV days.
Wow. That's longer than anybody. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
All right, fellas. This one is for Micah, but Leo, if you have anything to add in, I would have.
No, you know what?
Definitely.
If everybody would just ask Micah their questions, that would make me so happy. Go right ahead.
How can I help?
All right. So I am ready, Micah, to upgrade to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. The only thing, honestly, that's holding me back, I currently have an iPhone 13 mini.
Mm-hmm.
I can't decide if I want to hold on to the mini because it's going to be a collector's item, or if I just want to just go ahead and just get it over with and just trade it in. In your opinion, do you think that the product red iPhone 13 mini is going to be worth anything?
It's pretty, though.
It's very pretty. I think it might be worth something to you in terms of if you are any sort of a collector, then you might find worth in it. But if you're hoping that, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years from now, you'll be able to put it on eBay and make more money than you've ever. I really don't feel like the iPhone mini exists in the same space as the original iPhone, right? That if you sell an original iPhone now could net you some dollars. I think we've all, unless they just radically change things and, we see the last sort of glass and metal iPhone, I think until that happens and we go from that to something else, we're not in a place where these are like, I don't know, the rare Beanie Baby that has 6 spots on it that you sell for millions.
Right. The reason, though, Micah, that really gives me trepidation is it's the last mini Apple's going to probably ever make, right? So
I don't think that we necessarily know that that's the case either. I could see that branding being tied to a future foldable iPhone. It could be called an iPhone mini that also folds. You know what I mean? And Apple is not completely cut off from like rewinding things if the market makes sense. We saw that with the reintroduction of a smaller phone at one point after they had not done smaller phones for some time. So look, I think depending on how much you can get for it in a trade-in, it may be worth it to you to trade it in. Otherwise, it's almost more of a value in your own. Some people have lots of dolls that they have, and they're not valuable to anybody else, but, they look at them and go, oh, I just love these 7 dollies that I have. Could be the same thing.
Kenny, I have a U2 iPod, the black and red iPod. I have 3 now because my mom had them, iPod Classics, the 160 gigabyte iPod Classics. They're both 30-pin connectors. I guess there could be a market down the road. I don't think people would ever spend more than $50.
Yeah.
It's not going to make you rich.
Exactly.
No, it's not that. I just figured maybe I could get a pretty good size amount for it. Leo, I still have the iPad 2 with 30 pin. So
the rule of thumb is antique computer gear ain't worth much.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why people keep sending it to me. Don't. When we were in the old brick house, we had a 10,000 square foot basement. We kind of had I felt like it was almost an adoption center for old computers. We had so much stuff. Somebody brought me an old Osborne, which I, at the time, wanted 50 years ago, 30, whatever. But it was so old, the rubber had deteriorated. Wow. So it was kind of like, you felt like it's turning to dust in my hands. And I was thrilled to have it. But when we moved, we had to get rid of a lot of that stuff. And don't send it to me. Sure. And I don't think we found. I don't know, John. Did you try to sell any of that? Was there any money in it? No, of course not.
Yeah.
Now, when we move out of this studio, we'll do a charity auction, and maybe we'll get some money from people. There's some stuff in here that people might want, but I don't think that it's worth saving classics.
Yeah, it's not unique enough an item. It's just there are going to be so many other minis out there.
It's more of personal value.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's personal value.
Hear a little one in the background. Is that yours?
Yes, sir. She will be 8 months old on Tuesday.
Congratulations. Wow. Are you getting much sleep yet?
Thank you. Just now starting to.
Isn't that nice?
Wow, good for you.
People don't appreciate how much sleep
Thank you, guys.
deprivation having a newborn
I'm sure.
entails. Kenny,
Absolutely.
bless you. It's great to talk to you.
Guys, thank you.
Now that you know the way,
All right, guys.
come back anytime.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm sorry that this is going to be the last day of watching live.
Not for this show. For this show, we should be very clear. So Lisa put out a tweet which scared everybody that we were going to turn off the live streams. And really what we're going to do is there are a few reasons we would want to do that. One is we want people to join the club. $7 a month, you'll be able to watch everything live. We spend a lot of money for those live streams. We have a very expensive gear that we have to renew for, I think it's $8,000 a year. And there's a playback device that we use. There's expensive. It's also the fact that if people watch live, they're much less likely to download the shows, and we aren't able to charge advertisers for live. So even though you see an ad on live, we don't. That doesn't work for our advertisers. And then there's the final issue. I guess that's the three. We want to send them to the club. It's expensive, and we want to we're cutting costs to the bone right now because we have to. And then finally, we really want to get people to download instead of watching live. But for this show especially, we need people to watch live so that they can call live and they can help us answer the questions. So we will continue. We haven't decided yet, but I think almost certainly put up a YouTube stream when this show's on the air. So you'll still be able to go to YouTube and watch it. I think we want to do YouTube because YouTube, a lot of people have YouTube on their TVs.
Yes.
And we want people to be able to watch it on TV.
We've heard from a lot of people who like to watch on their Apple TVs or other set-top box options. We want to give people that ability.
Yeah.
And yes, someone is talking about in the chat, downloading would help us, that
makes a big difference because we can't monetize you if you don't download it. I guess if you watch it on the website, that's fine. It's the live YouTube. It's hard to get accounts for live YouTube, live Twitch, live Kick, the various places we stream it, and advertisers don't believe them. So we just don't add it to the numbers.
Yep. So there is that. Thank you for bringing that up at the end, because then we got to tell everybody who was asking about it. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, gentlemen.
Take care, Kenny. Now, Martin is the guy in Germany who is talking about this in our IRC, and he's been asking in emails, do you ever take questions from email? Yes, we do. ATG, it's at the screen, at twit.tv. Martin's been around for a long time. He said, would you answer a question from a fan in Germany too? With Black Friday on the horizon, they have Black Friday in Germany too now. Black Friday. Amazing. They don't have Thanksgiving, but they have the day after Thanksgiving.
What's it called there?
Black Friday. Black Freitag. He says, I'm sure, actually it would be Schwarzer Freitag. I'm sure that many of your listeners in the U.S. are keen to know as well. My budget allows either, this is for you, a MacBook M3 with 32 gigs of RAM, MacBook Pro, or MacBook Pro M2 Pro with 16 gigs. So either the M3 base model with 32 gigs or the M2 Pro with 16 gigs. He says, I do video editing and 3D modeling with Blender and Maya.
This is the hardest question I think I've ever been asked.
It's a big, Apple kind of did some stuff that makes it hard to decide now.
Yes.
So for instance, the M3 Pro is not much faster than the M2 Pro, like this much.
Right.
Now, what you're doing, Martin, it requires a GPU. So I would get now RAM is an issue because the way Apple's unified RAM works, that's memory available to the GPU as well as the CPU. The things you're doing, Blender, Maya, 3D modeling, all use the graphics processing, and they all like a lot of RAM.
Yes, lots to move around.
So the M3 base model, I'm going to have to go to the Apple site to really compare these. But what you're looking at is you want as much RAM as possible, but you also want as much GPU as possible. And I'm not sure if a base model M3 is going to be an M2 Pro. The M2 Pro is pretty good. I mean, what I would say is if you said, should I get the M2 Pro with 32 gigs, I would say yes.
Right, yeah. That it was the smaller RAM.
Yeah,
in that.
I would say yes. You want a lot of RAM. I mean, those programs are, especially on the Mac because of unified memory, are using that RAM.
Yeah, I would say, so I have the M1 what is it? The
Not M1.
M1's
He's looking at M2, M2 Pro versus M3 base.
Yes, sorry. I'm trying to draw a comparison between my situation. So at home,
what you have. I see.
I've got the Studio. It's an M1 version.
Yeah.
And then I've got this M2 Air. And I have always been impressed with what this M2 Air is capable of doing. So the jump in processor alone. But yes, it gets more complicated whenever we're throwing in kind of the way that Apple went from M2 to M3 with the Pro model specifically.
This is the M3 base with 10 GPU cores. And let me see if I can get the, in another tab, I'll get the MacBook Pro with an M2, right? That's what you're saying, yes. M2 Pro. So complicated. It gets so complicated. Oh, they aren't even offering the M2 anymore.
Tech specs.
So
let's see, because you can find the tech specs in...
By the way, somebody's pointing out this is the M3's the RAM is weird because of they're doing it in multiples of 3, not multiples of 2. I would say, I mean, if you can stretch, Martin, if you could stretch, I would stretch and get the Pro with 32 gigs. The problem is, of course, all of this is soldered in. You can't upgrade anything. You can't upgrade the hard drive. You can't upgrade the RAM. Obviously, can't upgrade the CPU. So what you're going to buy, you're going to be buying for years. I'm going to talk a little bit about my new M3 Max. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I went so crazy, I spent, it was like $5,000, a ridiculous amount of money, is I'm future-proofing. So I wanted to get the most I could get because I want this to last a long time.
And that's what Rene Ritchie would always recommend. Remember on Mac Break Weekly, he always said it's better to save and get the most that you can get at that time than to go for something less. That you should try to take the money and spend it on something that's going to last you a really long time.
But 16 gigs of RAM is not enough.
Yeah. I agree. That part makes it a little simpler. I think that you do need more than 16 of RAM.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you could do M3. Wait, but that was what Martin said. I would do the M3 base with 32 gigs?
Or the M3 base or the M2 Pro.
With only 16.
Let me have to go look at this email again. I think that's right. I would say get the M3. You can get the M3 with 32 gigs, or is it 36? It might be 36. Or the M2 Pro with 16.
I think M3.
Go for the RAM.
Yeah, I think more RAM.
So, I mean, really, the only difference you're going to see is not that you're going to be able to work with any bigger files or anything on either of them. It's just speed, right? Mm-hmm. How much time does it take to render? And I think that having more RAM will make a bigger difference than having more GPU cores, is my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel good about that, too.
He bought it. So
what?
Meanwhile, I got an M3 Pro with 18 gigs. It fits into my budget. So he compromised. So 18 instead of 36. Let us know, Martin.
Yes.
The one thing that we do know is the M3 Pro is not quite as powerful as an M2 Pro.
Right.
Like what they did, and I think this is going forward what Apple wants to do. They've got 3 chips, and by the way, each of these is a different. They're not binning these across lines. The M3, the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max. If you look at the dies, they're much bigger. So those are 3 different chips, and I think what they're doing is they slid the Pro over a little closer to the base model, so that there would be a very clear demarcation between the base, the Pro, and the Max.
Absolutely.
And in particular, they want a stronger demarcation between the Pro and the Max.
Absolutely.
So the big one on the M3 is memory bandwidth. They've actually cut memory bandwidth on the M3 Pro. In fact, you have to buy what I bought to get 400 gigabytes a second memory bandwidth. And the only thing that's going to be faster than that is an Ultra. But an M2 Ultra is faster in memory bandwidth. It's 800 gigabytes a second. So, and memory bandwidth matters to you too, because you're moving big texture maps, big files into RAM and operating on them and moving them out again. So all 3, the number of GPU cores, By the way, the GPU cores and the CPU cores on the M3 and the M2 are not so much different. That's maybe 10 to 15% of the overall speed. It's the number, the amount of cache available to them, let me think, what is it? It's the number of cores, the amount of cache available to them. Oh, and efficiency and performance on the CPU. They've also changed the ratios of those a little bit.
Yeah, the Max, for example, has
almost all
4
Pro.
efficiency cores,
Right.
whereas the Pros have 6 efficiency cores.
So what they're essentially doing with Max, and by the way, I noticed this. I'll give you a little preview of my review. Battery life when you're maxing this thing out goes down, way down, a couple hours. Playing Baldur's Gate 3, you got to plug in. I got 2 hours of Baldur's Gate on here because it was maxing out the memory. And it was maxing out the GPUs.
That's right, because of the new dynamic allocation, right?
And it doesn't have the efficiency cores, as many efficiency cores. So it's pegging it. Same thing, Whisper AI, when I'm doing transcription, because that's another reason I bought a Max is because I think with AI, I'm going to be needing more power than I used to need.
Yep.
You know, now general applications, because of AI, may actually be more demanding. So I wanted to max that out as well. I think, you know, we got to look at more benchmarks. I did not do any benchmarking for my review because I figured there's plenty of companies doing much better jobs in non-tech, and Ars Technica are doing much better jobs at benchmarks than I'm going to ever do. But also because I don't think benchmarks are very useful.
I don't think they're good for everyday people or even those of us who are, prosumer.
The problem is if you're not using a benchmark, then you're giving a subjective opinion. You're saying, well, it seems faster than me. And the benchmark at least is objective, but it does not reflect experience, I think. So, Martin, I want you to tell us how it worked out for you.
Yes, do let us know.
I think you're going to be very happy. I do. I think it would be nice to have had more RAM, but saw the silly thing Apple said this week when challenged over the fact that the base models have 8 gigs of RAM. They said, well, 8 gigs on a Mac with Apple Silicon is the equivalent of 16 on a PC. Liars.
That's not you can't say that.
Liars. Not true. And benchmarks will, by the way, prove that. It's just hard to do benchmarks across platforms and stuff. Because remember, the other thing you're getting is Mac OS, which is the Apple Silicon is purpose-built for Mac OS. You can't say that about PCs. So there's other differences as well. I think the unified platform of OS, hardware, and software really does give you a very good experience on the Mac, and benchmarks just don't show that. So anyway, Martin, I hope you're happy. I'm sorry that we didn't answer your question until you couldn't wait. You know what? He couldn't wait.
Yeah.
That's all it was. He couldn't wait. All right, real quick commercial, and then we are going to go to Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, to talk about automotive technology. But first, a word from our sponsor, Melissa. We love Melissa, the global leader in contact quality data. Now's the time of year when it really matters, the holiday season. You want to let Melissa help your business meet online shopping expectations. You want to increase ROI. You want to reduce wastes and costs associated with lost and undeliverable packages. And you want to improve your customers' overall satisfaction. And you also want the holiday cards to get to the right address. Okay, that's maybe not so important. The importance of but you could do all of that with Melissa. The importance of early preparedness for retailers for the holiday season. Look, that's beyond dispute, right? You're getting ready now. The decorations are up, kids. Here are some of Melissa's tips to help you get started. Start by cleaning out your contact data with Melissa's data cleansing solutions. Get rid of all that stale, outdated data. Replace it. You're not just throwing it out. You're replacing it with verified, accurate information. Replace old addresses for people who've moved. Add new email addresses or new phone numbers. Customers always want a seamless experience with efficient delivery. Make sure your business is meeting their expectations. Everybody wants next day and 2-day delivery, right? That's going to step up as we get closer and closer to the end of the year. Melissa ensures that addresses are verified and standardized at checkout with their autocomplete tool, and it really helps you get that delivery on time. Not only does having a verified address at checkout ensure that the address itself is deliverable, it also cuts down on keystrokes by up to 75%. And keystrokes are the culprit here. Whether it's your customer service rep or your customer entering the address, fumble-fingered zip codes and street numbers and phone numbers really can be a problem. And customers love it when they're on the site and it goes, you mean this? And they go, yeah, this saves them typing by up to 75%. That's Melissa, baby. Offering bundles and cross-selling to existing customers, that's much more efficient than finding new ones. We know that. The holiday season is a perfect time to do this. Customers are not just shopping for themselves, they're shopping for others. Profiling your data will help you get a better understanding of your customer base and best-selling products, which can help you create more effective marketing strategies. I'm just telling you all the ways Melissa can help you. You can match and dedupe your data. That'll clean out your database, allowing you to see a complete 360-degree view of each customer, better understand your customers, allow for more personalized marketing, and, of course, a better customer experience. You don't want to call them Mr. when they're a Mrs. I'm telling you. Melissa has achieved the highest level of security status available by gaining FedRAMP authorization. Wow. Now, of course, that's exclusively for government agencies, but everybody benefits, right, from the superior level of security. Melissa's solutions and services are GDPR and CCPA compliant, the California Privacy Act. They meet SOC 2 and HIPAA high trust standards for information and security management. Nobody does it better. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free. Melissa.com/twit. MELISSA. We love these guys. And what a great job they do for our listeners. Melissa.com/twit. What do we do? It's time for Car Guy, yes?
It is time for Sam.
Car Guy, Sam Abuelsamid.
It's the time.
What are you, in front of a Rolls Royce? What is that?
I am, but I can't see you guys.
You don't need to see us. We look exactly the same as ever, Sam. Hi, Sam.
How are you doing this week?
We are very well. Sam, can I, just on a personal note, and you can yell at me if I made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Now I can see you.
I was going to, I am driving a Mustang Mach-E. I like EVs. I'm only going to buy EVs. I like the Mustang Mach-E. And I was thinking maybe I should keep it at lease end, which is in February. I looked, and the buyout is $36,000. And I thought, even if I keep it and I go through all the trouble of selling it, I'm not going to make a lot of money on that. That's probably, what I would get. So I'm gonna let the lease run out and buy a new car. And I put it in an order. Now, don't yell at me.
Oh God, what's he getting?
You didn't do it.
I'm spending my kid's inheritance. I just want everybody to know.
Yeah, this is his.
What
personal
happened
money,
here?
not-
Tell me you didn't buy a Tesla.
No, I no.
Oh,
no. What do you think?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I bought a Cybertruck. Is that okay? No, I did not.
I actually saw one the other day.
That's what I bought. How did you know what I bought? You put it on the screen
you were
behind
thinking about it.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I finally put in the order for the BMW i5.
No.
Yeah.
You're going to be one of those?
I am going to run stoplights.
Never turn on your blinker?
I'm never going to use a blinker again. My life has changed. No, I'm going to be I drive like Grandpa.
You are a good driver.
I will be the best Beamer
driver
out there. But I think it's a nice platform. Am I wrong?
It is. No, it is. I finally had a chance to drive it this week, and it's really, really good. And I think you will really like it. Did you get the eDrive 40 or the M60?
I am not an M60 guy. I know
Okay.
my half brother said, "You got the M series, right?" I said, "Dude, I'm not made of money. I don't need that.
You don't need that one.
I don't need that." So no, I got the E40, but I got the B&O sound system. I got all the self-driving bells and whistles. The one where you look in the mirror and it goes into a new lane. That stuff. So did you like it?
I did. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It has all the things that you would expect of a modern BMW luxury sedan.
I'm not going to buy an i7,
comfortable,
which is their top of the line, or an i8.
Yeah, and the i7 is so big.
Yeah,
it's a big car.
I don't need
this
that.
is a much more reasonable
This
size.
is the car Lisa and I will go on road trips because she has it's funny, ironically, a BMW-based Mini Cooper SE.
Yep.
And that only has like 90 miles range. So if we go anywhere, like even to the city, we're going to have to take the. I'm not going to say.
Yeah, I mean you'll get 300 miles of range with this one.
Yeah,
without any problem.
Yeah.
I think you'll be very happy with it.
Good. Thank you.
as I said, it looks good. It's very comfortable. It handles really well. The only complaint I had was the steering feels a little bit on the light side. There's not a lot of steering feedback, but
that's because you're a race car driver. I am a grandpa. I just want to go with one hand down the road. I'm not
that much younger than you are, Leo.
Yeah, but you're not spending your kid's inheritance yet.
That's true.
I finally decided.
But I don't plan on leaving them anything anyway. So.
I finally decided that I could tap into my retirement savings. Because maybe this is nuts, but I feel like I'm buying my last car.
I want you to reiterate, though, what you're saying, because
I know everybody's saying, well, that's it. We're not giving you any money for Club Twit if you're going to buy a car with it.
It's not coming from Twit.
It's not coming. Now, the leases were all through the company because for tax reasons, but that's why I'm buying this one. And I'm buying it. I already cashed out what part of my 401k to buy it. It's coming out of my 401k. It's not coming out of Twit. Because I think it's my last car, and I want to have this car for 10, 15 years. And so I think this is a good one to keep for a long time. Yes, you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you will like it a lot.
Yeah.
It drives really nice. It's a
great coffin. Yeah, you're going to bury me in it, aren't you? Yes.
Abby will love it. When you leave it to her.
Abby already got my old Lexus. Totaled it, so I'm not. So no, I
think you will enjoy this car, and it's got lots of nice features in there. I didn't get a chance to play around with the hands-free driving system during the time I had my hands on it, but other than that. Everything else about it is
BMW
really great.
has a nasty reputation, for instance, for charging extra for heated seats.
They have dropped that.
They stopped doing that, right?
That.
Yeah.
That was so to be clear, that was an experiment. They tried it in a couple of markets for like a year or two. And the market response was, shall we say, not positive. And so they've moved away from that.
Yes.
So they're not doing that anymore.
And for a while,
most other automakers have said we're not even.
Yeah, that's a bad idea, especially when you spend a lot of money for a car. And the other thing that was a problem is that their wireless CarPlay was frying iPhones.
Oh no!
But Apple updated. That's the 17.11 update.
It's a wireless charging. Right?
Yeah, it's the wireless charging. So I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, and I used my Pixel 8 Pro. Wirelessly
to get in and out and all that.
Fine. Yeah.
It does support Apple. It's the only company that supports Apple's car key. So I'm looking forward to that.
There are a couple of others that are doing that shortly as well.
Yeah.
But no, I think you'll like it a lot. I mean, if you really wanted to spend your kid's inheritance, this is the car that you would have bought.
Yeah. What is that? A Maybach? What is that?
No, that's a Rolls-Royce Spectre.
Oh,
probably the most appropriately named car ever. A Spectre is a ghost, that floats around silently, and this thing, it goes down the road. It is dead silent. When you turn on the ventilation fans at all but the highest speed, you don't even hear them. You put your hand up there, and you'll feel the air coming out, but you do not hear.
That's why they call it a ghost.
It's pretty.
Wow.
It's gorgeous.
Are they still handmade Rolls?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if
they're
that's
all
good or
made
not.
at a factory in Goodwood, England.
Yeah.
And you can get them colored any color combinations you want.
Oh really?
It's
that's
a
nice.
fabulous car to drive.
I'd like an orange Rolls Royce, please.
For hand them. Just give them your wire transfer numbers. For
exactly.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity,
you want.
Since I am spending the kid's inheritance, how much would that car cost?
It's only $420.
Oh,
so Elon
Elon would love it. Yeah.
$420,000.
It makes me nervous.
It's electric, zero emissions.
Oh, this is their electric.
You're protecting.
I've been very interested.
This is the first electric Rolls Royce. Yeah.
Can I live in it?
After you.
That's the only way this makes sense.
You may have to.
Yeah. Well,
if you're in California, you might just have to.
Yeah. I mean, you only buy this because money means nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's otherwise
they could charge anything they wanted effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rolls-Royce says that their customers, or rather, should I say, their clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, have an average of 7 vehicles in their garage.
Sweet goodness.
So
I would feel so weird driving a car that costs as much as a house down the road at 60 miles an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
What
this
if
is
I heard
you're,
it?
you're putting it in peril.
Yeah, every time. I think about that too when I see these wild cars on the road. I'm like, why are you even moving it?
It was a little bit nerve-wracking driving this. I had it for
You
about
drove
30
it?
minutes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I drove it.
I'm so jealous. How fun.
But it's it's one of those things that you should experience once. I don't think I would ever own one. I mean, it's not my style, but it's if you have an insane amount of money and at least 7 other cars in your garage, you should definitely consider one.
I am going to guess that I will at no point in my life ever get to drive a Rolls Royce. I'm just going to guess that. You're a car, reporter. You're a car auto journalists give the best job. You get to drive everything.
It beats working for a living.
Yeah. That's even a $420,000 Rolls Royce. Do you have to have special insurance?
Right. I was wondering that too.
No, for these programs, the car manufacturers, they cover the insurance.
They have the insurance.
We're for liability, our own car insurance covers that, but for collision damage and things like that, they cover that. But I mean, for the most part, most of us do try to take really good care of the cars, especially for stuff like this.
Now, Martin, our German listener, wants to take that on the Autobahn. What is the top speed of that?
That's a good question. I'm not sure what the top speed is. Let me look real quick.
It's cruising
It looks
speed.
pretty heavy. It looks
30
like
miles per hour
It is.
cruising.
yeah.
No. This thing is fast. It'll go 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds.
Wow.
So it is a rapid machine. But
It's a Spectre. It feels like a James Bond car.
It does.
But not a car that the James Bond would drive. A
No,
car
it's
that
the villain.
Bad
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
a villain
Yeah.
car.
Look at it. It's
Yeah.
spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky Spectre.
Yeah,
they don't list a top speed,
Which means there is none.
If you have to ask, you
you
don't.
have to ask, you can't do it.
Until relatively recently, until about 20 years ago, Rolls-Royce did not even list the power output of their engines in the specs. It was, if you looked at in the brochures, it was merely listed as adequate.
Adequate? That's
it's enough
hilarious.
to move the vehicle
That is
down
hilarious.
the highway.
What is the
this has 584 horsepower.
Wow.
And, about 600 plus foot-pounds of torque.
I was going to ask you about the foot-pounds, just because I like to say
Foot-pounds.
foot-pounds.
But no, it's quick, and it's actually not as quick as the i5 M60, but it's not meant to be. This is not a sports car. This is meant to get you effortlessly from wherever you are to wherever you want to be.
Which is why I didn't
And
buy
it
the
does that.
M60, because I don't really need to go 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. 4 or 5 is
Nobody
more
does.
than enough. And EVs have plenty of pickup. I had a ludicrous mode Tesla, and I never used it except to scare people. And I don't think that's a good reason to spend that much extra on a vehicle. Yeah.
No, and the torque of EVs is so immense and it comes on so
man.
instantly.
Yeah.
That the performance you can get out of EVs is crazy.
That's why I like them.
But
people forget.
But it
EVs
also means
are
you wear
fun
out your
to
tires
drive.
a lot faster.
Yeah.
Are there more rear ends in
No.
in those vehicles?
Well, remember now,
They're more expensive to repair, so insurance costs are actually higher.
Connor Logan of the Succession TV show, Alan Ruck, bought a brand new Rivian a couple of weeks ago, which has a lot of pickup. This electric pickup truck, and plowed it
the
into
Rivian will
a
go 0 to
pizza.
60 in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, he plowed it into a pizza parlor, and the police department said, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't it has a lot of pickup, and he didn't know, and he stepped on it and went. Phew.
Oof. See, that would scare me. I think.
So it is a little. I mean, I think
So it
until you
just
get
can
used
get-
to it,
yeah.
he had just gotten it. And I think that's why they didn't prosecute. Is that well, Alan, sorry, and I'm sure he paid the pizza parlor for the damage.
Yeah,
But
because my
I would
car
hope so.
takes a second to get going again at a stoplight, but you and your EV can be like,
oh, I love it. And it's so funny because you'll get little twerps next to you in the Mustang, GT 5.0, revving their engines because they think, you're in a little electric SUV. What can you do? And I just let them go fast down the road. And I'm a grandpa. I told you. Now,
And that's-
one of the
that's
problems
what
with
people
EVs is
should
they
do.
can't sustain that, right? I mean, they get hot.
Newer EVs can. So
really?
they've learned how to do a better job on the thermal management of the
good.
motors and the battery, so they can maintain those speeds. But over time, if you run them hard enough, long enough, they will start to slow down if the motor gets too hot, if the batteries get too
But
hot.
not at 60, 65 miles. Not at normal
No.
highway
I mean,
speeds.
if you're driving at anything resembling a reasonable
Yeah, I
speed, I'm
cruise
talking
down
like
the
on the
freeway.
track.
Yeah.
On the track, they will eventually slow down. But if you're doing anything remotely responsible on the highway, then you'll be fine. You will never see that as a problem.
Is it fun to drive a Rolls Royce? I mean, once you get over the fact that you're driving a $420,000 vehicle.
To be honest, I mean, if what you enjoy is driving,
You shouldn't get a Rolls.
then yeah. I mean, it's
a show off car.
It's not. Yeah, it is fun in some far as you are driving down the road in this car with this immense performance, and it is completely effortless. You don't feel anything. You're isolated from everything. It is silent.
I do like
the
that.
road
I like
doesn't
to
really
not
come
hear
through.
road noise.
It's a
even
living
the
room on
tires.
wheels. Yeah.
Even the tires on this, Michelin has developed been doing some interesting stuff with tires. So the tires on this, it's a new tire they've developed for EVs. That on the inside of the tread, on the inboard side of the tread, they have a strip of foam that goes all the way around.
No way.
And what that does, it helps to damp because a lot of the tire noise comes from the air moving around inside the tire. So this helps to dampen that air movement. So even the tires are quieter. And those tires, that type of tire is going to be available for all kinds of vehicles. But the Spectre is one of the first cars to get those. And so there's all these kinds of things that they're doing to make them quieter. But for me, personally, as if I was going to get an EV from the BMW group, I would actually probably go for the i4, because I prefer something smaller. I did get a chance to do a few laps at their performance center in the i5 M60. And then,
I bet that was fun.
And
See,
then
they're
did a
fun
few
to
laps
drive, right?
in the
Unlike a
M2.
Rolls, a BMW is fun to drive.
Yeah, and it's meant to be. It's for a different kind of customer.
Yeah.
And the M60, it is just so effortless to drive at higher speeds, and because of that instant response of the electric motors, as you're coming out of corners, you just roll on the accelerator and it just goes, it just accelerates effortlessly.
Yeah.
The M2, which is their sports car, actually it's meant as a higher performance model, but it feels slower.
Yeah.
Because it's got turbo lag, it's internal combustion.
Yeah.
But it's actually more fun to drive because it's more challenging. As a driver, I like that challenge of trying to get it all timed right, rolling on the accelerator just as you're hitting the apex of a curve. So as you get to the straight, then that power is starting to come on, and feeling it kind of squirting around a little bit. So it feels less responsive than the EV, but in some ways more fun to drive. So,
Okay.
but I also understand that that EVs are where we're going, and ultimately that's what we're going to end up with.
Martin in Germany
still have
says
my Miata.
BMW rolled the last combustion vehicle off its line this week. Is that right?
No, it's not true.
I thought that they were still making it.
BMW is going to be building combustion vehicles for many years to come.
Yeah. There's a big market
well
for
into
those.
the 2030s.
Yeah. VW might have.
No, but nobody has.
Nobody has.
None of the traditional automakers have stopped building EVs yet, or internal combustion vehicles yet.
Well, Sam, thank you for approving
by the end of the
of
decade, most of them will.
my purchase
End
of
of the
a
decade,
Rolls-Royce Spectre. If only, right? I am.
Just have Lisa call me, and I'll explain to her why you need that.
I don't. In fact, I don't even want it. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want a
Yeah,
car.
I would have to sit in the garage.
It's like having a $400,000 wristwatch, which people do, or $100,000 wristwatch. It would make me nervous. It made me feel bad.
Even shoes that cost too much.
Yeah.
Suits or whatever.
We're simple.
I think
simple people.
you'll love the i5.
This is as far as I'll go in a luxury term. And again, it's because it's the last car
What
I'm
color are you
going to
getting?
buy. Well, they mocked the color in the chat room, but I'm getting black Black on black.
You
With
should have got the Tanzanite blue.
Really?
The
You like
Tanzanite
that?
blue looks
Is that
so
what this
good.
is? Is that Tanzanite?
No, this is a green. They didn't have. I didn't have. a chance to
Tanzanite is
drive
a
the
darker kind of shiny blue, right?
Yeah, that's a great color.
Really? It may not be.
It is.
I think they've already built mine, or I would change it.
Oh, it's ugly, Leo. Don't worry. It's ugly.
I heard your ooh. You can't get away with that. I actually.
Maybe Micah can get a Tanzanite blue one.
I like black. I don't know why. I like to pretend I'm a limo driver, and if I get a little cap.
Driving
and I
Miss
drive around.
Daisy.
Yeah, driving Miss Daisy. That's me.
But which shade of black? Because they have several shades of black.
At first I got the matte black, and because they do.
No, you don't want that.
Yeah, that's what I found out. I did some research and I said, "Whoa, you can't even take it to a car wash. It's like ridiculous. You have to hand wash it."
Oh, Lord.
And I'm not that kind of Beamer owner, so I just got a pearl. I don't know I can't remember the name.
That
of it.
is another thing about Beamer owners. They
What?
do like to hand wash their cars.
They like to hand wash their vehicles. It's because they're in love with their cars. And I think this might be a mistake for me because I am not the kind of person
Yeah, I'm not a car.
who loves his car, except I want to have a car that I like to drive. I don't know. Let me see if I can find the
They have
black
carbon black
sapphire.
metallic.
Black.
I got sapphire.
Okay, black sapphire.
Yeah.
And then there's dark graphite metallic as well.
No,
And
I
then
thought
there's several shades of silver and gray.
I thought the black sapphire was the black. It was not as black as this laptop, but it was nice and dark. I want dark. I like dark. I don't know why. You got to wash it more,
think
but I
it's
like
nice,
it.
yeah.
I just like it. And I got the Veganza seats. Not the leather, but the new.
Bless you.
Did you try the Veganza seats that they have? I bet that's what they had in there. They're all hot on that. They're not. They're like vegan leather.
It sounds like something like a mom would be asking.
I did try that.
Yeah.
Try the
And
Veganza.
it feels like leather.
Yeah, vegan leather.
Yeah.
Perforated quilted black with black sapphire metallic. I did get the M Sport package, so you get the 19-inch wheels and all that silly stuff. But
Nice. Are the rims black too?
the rims are silver, but the calipers are blue. That's a BMW thing. Blue calipers.
As much of a non-car guy as I am, I always do appreciate a caliper that is a different color. I know that's odd, but every time I see it on a car, I'm like,
I
that
don't
looks
even
so
understand why, but I always, for some reason, the last 3 cars I've had have different colors. So
Right now, I have a
I was
Chevy Tahoe in the driveway with red calipers.
See, I just think it looks cool.
The thing I was most interested in, frankly, because I'm a tech guy, is the screen and the technology features, and it seems pretty good. They seem pretty good. I was tired of having an iPad screen in my car.
Yeah.
I wanted something that was a little more integrated into the dash, and this is a nice looking.
Oh, that's
screen.
right. Yeah, it's got it.
It goes like halfway.
And then
across.
it'll probably be one of the
horizontal.
first that offers the new CarPlay.
No, BMW says they will not.
No, they're going to
BMW's
Android
not doing
Automotive.
it?
They're not going to
Oh.
do the Apple CarPlay. I don't want the Apple.
There is no automaker that has announced any intention of going to.
That's
You give up
the
too much
new
to
Apple
Apple.
CarPlay.
They don't want to give up.
Even Porsche,
So you wanna
which
give it
has
to
been
BMW.
an Apple diehard. Even Porsche, which has been an Apple diehard
Yeah.
for a long time, they wouldn't even do Android Auto.
Yeah.
They announced that they're going to Android Automotive in 2025.
That's honestly one of the biggest reasons I wouldn't buy a Tesla. I mean, there are many, but I want CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is fantastic. Or Android Auto, either one. They're both, I think, the right way to go.
Well, the Android Automotive is the built-in one, so you don't even have to connect your phone.
Oh, that's
You
right. It's
download
running
the apps
Android.
directly.
Yeah.
It's got the Play Store in there, and you can download
That's
the
kind of
apps
fun.
directly.
That's kind of cool.
so then BMW and both, or what's it for? Which one?
The BMW.
Yeah, so then BMW and Google both get your information.
Correct. Yes.
We were just talking at the top of the show.
Everybody
about
will
how
have
much-
all of your
How much
information.
car information people are giving up. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Sam Abuelsamid, he's a principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. If you love cars, you got to listen to his podcast, Wheel Bearings, at wheelbearings.media. We'll see you on the Twit Social. He's on Mastodon as Sam Abuelsamid. Anything else you would like to plug, Mr. Samid?
Let's see. The research at Guidehouse Insights, wheel bearings. That's good for today.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Oh, and you can get wheel bearings shirts now at shop.wheelbearings.media.
Yeah, my
We got
son,
merch.
Salt Hank, says, why aren't you doing merch? I said, we do merch. He said, yeah, but why aren't you doing good merch?
Oh, dang.
Then I showed him our TikTok, and he said, "Oh, I got it."
He's got some thoughts.
He's disowned you now.
Yeah, he says, you're not my dad.
I really like the
wheel bearing shirts.
Yeah,
are they cool?
Yeah.
See, of course they are. Thank you, Sam. Have a great day. All right.
You too.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy. Yeah, people. I know it sounds like I'm getting fancy on you. You know, buying a fancy car, fancy laptop.
Isn't a Mustang fancy? Wasn't the Mustang Mach-E fancy?
It's less fancy than the other cars I've driven. But it's coming out of my 401k. It's not, I don't want to use the company's money. I can't because there is none.
Yeah, I was going to say. Try to.
I got to a point in my life, you know what it was? It was riding in the middle seat on Southwest.
That really was what did it. He's been a changed man ever since.
It flipped the thing in my head saying, you can now start spending your retirement because this sucks. And my kids are fine. I don't need to worry about them. So I'm going to spend their inheritance. It's one of the privileges, one of the few of being an old person. What should we do? We should take a little break.
Let's take a break.
And then continue on.
Sorry, I just saw an animal.
You just saw an animal?
Yeah. Someone's holding their animal.
Oh, is it a Chihuahua?
It's a kitty.
Well, it's small.
Yes, it does look Chihuahua-esque.
It's a small kitty. Yeah. Well, that's great. We'll go to the kitty cat guy coming up. But first, a word from Mylio. Oh, the first thing I did on the new laptop is I put Mylio on it. Mylio is my new way of keeping track of all my photos, all my videos, and all my documents. Mylio automatically imports everything I've got, and then I can share it, I can organize it, I can export it, I can import it, I can bring it in from any one of many different systems I have. I can go on and on about Mylio. It's incredible. One of the things I love about Mylio is the quick filters, which are applied automatically. So if you have pictures, for instance, of a lake, you went to the lake, you go to the lake every summer, Mylio will automatically categorize those as lake pictures, which means it's very easy to find them. So I don't know if you've done this, but back in the day, I would go through my Picasa folders and tag everything and put them in folders. I don't have to do that anymore. With Mylio, it does it all for me. Mylio Photos is the solution to digital management for photos, videos, and yes, I said documents. You can actually have it import your documents folder. It understands PDFs and Word documents, almost all the document formats you might have in there. It does OCR, so it makes it very easy to search. Oh, did I mention it's free? And man, they are always improving it. The latest round of updates is even better. They've refined the search and grouping tools, offering incredible cataloging and access for your important files, because Mylio Photos automatically assigns AI smart tags to their files. And with their updates to dynamic search and quick filters, I have 200,000 photos in my Mylio folder, and I can find something in less than a second just by using smart tags. It's kind of a miracle. I'm really a big fan. Let's see, I have... Under animals, I have amphibians. I wonder, do I have pictures of amphibians? I do. Arachnids. Do I have pictures of arthropods? Oh, my God. Is that a millipede? How did it find that? That's impressive. I didn't even know I had that picture. Badgers? Do I have pictures of badgers? No, that's my dog. But Ozzy kind of looked like a badger. Bears? How did it know?
The bears.
It found pictures of bears. Now, this is not something I did. This is Mylio AI. The other thing it does is face recognition. Now, of course, it doesn't know the faces of your friends and family. So I had to tag a few friends and family at first. But then once you do that, it goes through all of the photos. I'm telling you, 200,000 photos. You see how fast it found every bear photo?
Very fast.
It thinks a cat is a bear.
I should say very fast.
Very fast. Here's a Tasmanian devil. It's not exactly a bear, but then I could see you'd be confused. Those were instant. This is an amazing program. Did I mention it's free? It's free. They have this new Spaces tool. So one of the things you miss, say I've got off Google Photos. In fact, it's great. You do Google Takeout, downloaded all my Google's photos. That's hundreds of thousands of photos, I think. I don't know what it was. And then it imports them automatically. So I didn't have to do any processing. And then it goes through, it assigns the right dates and names and tags and everything to it. And then I deduped. So anything, because, a lot of this stuff is duplicated with it got rid of all of the duplicates beautifully. I mean, it's incredible. Now, with the Spaces tool, the one thing I thought, well, I'm going to miss sharing using Google Photos. No. With the Spaces tool, you can determine, you can create basically a shared custom category. You can do it in a quick collection, and then you can say what's visible, what's not. So you can use it for work, you can use it for family, you can use it for friends, and they can even collaborate on editing. They can collaborate on sharing media. They can add their own media. Spaces can be private with passwords or pins. You get extra security. You don't need the cloud with Mylio. You can use the cloud. In fact, I uploaded the Mylio cloud, but the beauty of it is Mylio encrypts everything before you do it. You can also use your own cloud service if you want. Mylio works with OneDrive, Google Drive, any S3 compatible cloud service, so Wasabi, things like that. And I do it on my private cloud. I have it on my NAS. So I basically have my NAS back up everything on Mylio. It'll work with Backblaze. It works with Synology. So you don't have to use a cloud. If you use a cloud, it's encrypted and private. You're not giving any data to anybody. But you don't have to, because with Mylio Plus, the Mylio Photos Plus subscription, all your devices connect to one library. And you can choose whether you want a thumbnail, you want a compressed version, or the original on any one of those devices. It even tells you ahead of time how much space that's going to take. It could not be easier. It could not be easier or more private and secure. I want you to try this. You could download it for free on a single device, whether it's Mac, Windows, iOS, or Android. And then if you get Mylio Photos Plus, if you want to, you don't have to, you can have it on all your devices. See what has us so excited? Our special address is mylio.com/twit. mylio.com/twit. Download Mylio Photos for free right now. Just, even if you're skeptical or is this really what I want? And you're not sure, because it's very personal. Everybody has a different. Download the free version and just try it. It doesn't take away from anything. Have it just import all your Apple photos. I put it on my iPhone, imports all the iPhone photos automatically. In fact, it's on all my phones because I have the Plus subscription. And that way, if I take a picture with any phone, it's already in my Mylio library before I get home. I can go on and on. I'll stop. Mylio.com/twit. You got to try it. It's amazing. I can't believe how fast it found those bears. This is Lisa in Russia. We went to a Russian restaurant, and they had a stuffed bear with vodka. So she shared. So it found that.
That's awesome.
It found it. If I were thinking, remember that time, Lisa, when you were in Russia and there was a bear at that restaurant?
That's what makes it so handy. That's where I've been able to use it for.
It's incredible. I do that a lot.
Person on the beach, there were dogs involved.
Yeah.
And I know it was in
Do I have
July.
any ibex photos? No. Impalas? The depth that this thing is. Gorillas, goats, hares, hartebeests, ibex, impalas, indries, insects, isopods. By the way, not just one insect. Ant, bee. Look, there's all my bee pictures.
That's so cool.
You see how fast? That's 200,000 photos. It found it instantly.
It's unbelievable.
All right. All right. Stop. Let's stop the insanity. Let's do another thing.
I'm going to pick up on Brock.
Hello, Brock in beautiful South Bend. Brock? Press, what is it?
Come on down.
Star what? Star 9? Star 6?
Star 6 if you're calling by phone.
Star 6 on the phone.
Unmute if you are calling by Zoom.
Zoom.
Hey, guys.
Hey,
hello.
How you doing? Is it Brock?
It is indeed. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, there he is. We're great. How are you?
Video.
Woo, it's magic.
Very good.
Well,
Yes.
what's up in
Yes,
Brock's
so,
world? Are you in South Bend? Did I get that right?
You did get that right. Yes, I am in South Bend.
Very nice.
So, guys, I recently made the switch to Mac OS and iPhone and just dove in head over heels over Apple products. And I've got one minor issue that's just driving me crazy. On my phone, of course, I have my contacts and I can see all my messages and everybody's names. I can't see them on my Mac that way. It just shows them as their phone number. I don't know phone numbers anymore. I don't know who remembers phone numbers anymore. But I can't get these two things to sync. I've checked iCloud and done all of that, but I'm just kind of stuck and I don't know what else to do.
So it sounds like what's happening is there's some sort of sync issue that is taking place. You've probably done everything that you thought you were supposed to do, and it's still not kicking in. This has been an issue in the past for some folks, but what's interesting about macOS is how it will pull information from kind of there are 2 to 3 different places. So the first thing that you need to make sure that you do is on your Mac, you go into System Settings, and in System Settings, there is a section underneath Passwords that's called Internet Accounts. When you click on Internet Accounts, all of your different internet accounts that you've logged into will appear here. So you may have Gmail, you may have, well, Google technically, you may have another one, but iCloud is the base. And when you click on that, you will see the different apps that are using iCloud, and you want to make sure that there you have contacts toggled on, not messages, but contacts toggled on. If you've done that, the next thing that I recommend people do is they go into the Contacts app on the Mac and they go into the settings for that, and they make sure that the default account in the settings for the Contacts app is set to the account that you want. So in this case, it sounds like you're using iCloud to sync this. So you want to make sure that that's synced to iCloud and not on my Mac. If it's on my Mac, then it's pulling from stuff that's stored locally. That may be why it's showing phone numbers. And then the other thing that I recommend, if all of that doesn't work, as a further troubleshooting step, is within that same settings area, you click on Accounts, and you click on iCloud, and then you'll have the option there's a little checkbox that says enable this account. And you basically uncheck that box and then recheck that box. You turn it off and on again.
Kick it.
Yeah. You kick it. Exactly. You kick it. And that will sometimes work. Now, have you tried those things? I want to make sure I'm not giving you all things you've done before.
I have not tried all of those things.
Good.
So there are definitely a few things I have not tried yet. I'll give those a shot. So I appreciate it, Micah. I just made the switch here about a year ago. It's been great, and using Apple devices has changed my mind on how computers are supposed to work. Yay. So it's just learning curves is what it is. So
yeah, and that's honestly, that is an annoyance that I remember in one upgrade, it for some reason undid my syncing and everybody was just phone numbers. And I thought, I don't know who any of these people are. So I ended up having to kick it in some way, and that ended up solving it for me.
It's, I've been using Mac since 1984 and it's still confusing to me. So don't blame, don't blame yourself. Messages is every time I set up a new Mac, and I'm using messages, I'm going, wait, are you going to get the pictures? Where do you get the so it's pretty clear that the images and names come from your contacts.
Yep.
So you got to make sure, so the first thing is make sure contacts is up to date. The other thing I also do, and I think it's probably a good idea since you're in the ecosystem, so you have multiple devices, is to turn on messages in the cloud.
Yep.
Because
yes, I do have that turned on.
That way they sync everywhere. And if you don't do that, then it's a very strange experience because there's messages here that aren't there and vice versa. So turn on messages in cloud. And then really the main thing is you're going to work on contacts and make sure that contacts is syncing properly. I got myself in a little bit of trouble because, as I have mentioned before, I stopped using Google Contacts. I was for a long time. I was just, everything should be Google, because then you get a new phone or whatever and you log in and you get all your contacts. And by the way, do you remember in the old days ever losing all your contacts? I did, and it's the worst thing in the world. Yeah.
Especially because it was tied to your phone.
Because when you moved
itself
from phone to phone, there was no easy way to get the contacts. You'd had to manually enter them, just as a nightmare. So we've really come a long way. I moved off of, so that's why I went to Google Contacts, is that idea that there's one place in the cloud that has everything, and everything syncs with that. But I didn't want to give Google everything. So that's why I'm using Fastmail, our sponsor, and Fastmail does have calendars. So I did go through a little bit of this, like I'm just getting a phone number, because I had to redo my syncing and tell Apple's contacts, now you're syncing with Fastmail, stop syncing with Google. And the initial process, I think I generally say you should download whatever you've been using as contacts, whether it's Google or some other service, or maybe just locally. You should make one good copy.
Yes.
One good backup of all of your contacts.
I agree.
You maybe even go through it and clean it up, merge them. Apple has a pretty good contact merging feature. Get it cleaned up, delete all the people who are dead, well, not dead to me, and then and then and then have the perfect contact list, and that's kind of your starting point.
Yep.
In fact, you might even
Take
if you
the time.
Yeah. Once you've got that, A, you've got a good backup, and you're never going to lose your contacts, right? But B, now maybe you delete them everywhere and start over with this one good canonical list and figure out where's that going to live, where's the place everything's going to sync with. It's worth doing that once, I think.
I agree. Yeah. And now's a good time to mention that if you join Club Twit at twit.tv/clubtwit, I do have an episode of Hands on Mac all about the Contacts app on the Mac.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I am already a Club Twit member. I'll have to go find that episode and give it a watch.
Thank you for the support.
It's the best $8 a month I spend. So,
and
really
again, it's not going to my cars or computers. It's going to Micah's salary. It's going to keep the lights on. It's going to keep the shows going. So we really appreciate that. Of
course.
I just read a stat that Google, that $831 billion more in revenue in Google ad sales this year, particularly YouTube, this year.
Really?
Almost $1 trillion. And
so
where
much
is
money.
that coming from? It's not like those are new dollars.
Right.
It's coming from us. It's coming from TV shows. Basically, all advertising is sliding into Google, Facebook, and when I say Google, I mean YouTube as well, because they give up all of your information. An advertiser can say, I just want people in South Bend who are in a certain age bracket, a certain income bracket. They know that about you. So it's killing us because we don't know anything about you. And even when you join the club, we intentionally don't learn anything about you. We don't want to sell your private information. We know our audience is sophisticated. They don't want us to do that. But it puts us at a severe disadvantage with advertisers. I thank
I try to fill out this annual survey every year.
The survey helps.
So
that's all we really ever have is that survey. But I thank our advertisers, people you've heard. Melissa's great. Milio's great. The people you've heard on this show, because their advertisers say, well, we kind of believe in what you're doing and we love the audience you have. And so we're going to take a flyer on buying ads on a podcast. Nobody does that anymore. When I see a video of Marquez Brownlee caressing his 8 Sleep mattress pad, of course you're going to, if you're 8 Sleep, they stop buying us. They start buying Marquez. He costs more than we do. But he's going to make that nice video of him massaging, and and influencers get millions of views, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm sorry, I shouldn't go on and on. It's just a hot button topic. But I greatly appreciate
thank you for your
the support, because that's what we're going to need.
Of course, it's no problem.
Going forward, I'm sorry to say. All right, have a great day. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Leo. And can I just say one quick thing to you directly, if you don't mind?
Okay.
This sounds scary.
Oh, no.
If he starts it with no offense, I'm out of here.
So no offense, Leo.
Oh, God.
No, I just want to say I'm a first-time caller, a long-time listener.
Aww.
Started watching you during the Tech TV days as a junior in high school.
Wow.
And have helped to get me interested in technology and make that a career for myself and make a wonderful life for myself and my husband. So, Leo, you're my hero. You're my mentor. I look up to you. And I'm really glad I got to say these things to you live in person. So I owe you a lot, Leo. So thank you very much for that. And Micah, thank you too. You're always
here. He's the future, isn't he?
As well.
He's the next.
Yes.
He's the next generation. And I just love Micah, and I'm so glad that we have him on the team. And I just want to say what Kate Patello always used to say when somebody said something like that. She said, namaste. You know what that means?
Yeah.
The geek in me recognizes the geek in you.
I like that.
I really appreciate it. What kind words. Thank you so much. Those are what feed me.
Thank you so much, guys.
Those are what feed me.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Take care.
That
makes.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care now.
Cry a little bit.
I know.
Give me a little.
Get a little teary-eyed too.
Yeah, that's why we do it, though, right? We don't
exactly.
I mean, we have to make a living, you and I, but we don't do this because we're going to get rich. Nobody becomes a podcaster to get rich anymore.
It's genuinely helping people that
Yeah.
makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
And when you get to hear from the people,
Yeah.
even something as small, just the other week, Rosemary and I answered a question for someone and they said, I didn't think about that, but whenever you told us that solved it. And it's like, yes.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Yes. It just feels
And,
good.
you know,
awesome.
I hope you get what I have, because I've been doing this now for 30 years. I hope you get the blessing that I have gotten out of this, which is in 30 years, people like him come to you and say, Micah, because of you, I watched you in junior high school and I got started. And
Gives me
now
goosebumps thinking about
I'm an AI engineer and I've just launched the first AI drone rocket ship or whatever it is. I hope you get that because it does make you feel like, well, maybe I made a little bit of a difference in the world. Thank you. That's a very nice thing to say. And if you want to join Club Twit, twit.tv/Club Twit, $7 a month. That is as low as it goes.
Yeah, it's a very good value.
Nobody does less than that. I mean, there's a few that are just $5, but we give you so many shows for free, no ads. We give you the Discord, lots of events, a great, bunch of content, and the good feeling that you're supporting something that I think makes a big difference in the world. So thank you to all of our club members and to you for joining twit.tv/Club Twit.
Is it time to talk about your...
I'm excited. So I'm kind of thinking, it sounds like I'm ancient. I'm only 60. I'll be 67 in a week. I'm not that old. But I'm thinking, last car? Well, if I get a car that lasts me 10, 15 years, I'm not going to be driving into my 80s. You think? I'll be that guy going, get out of my way. No, I don't want to be driving.
There,
in my 80s. So I think that's my last car. Now, I've said, and people laugh at me, this could be my last laptop. It's not my last laptop, obviously. But I do think it's time for me to get a laptop that is kind of a no compromise.
There you go.
That I'm going to have for 5 years. And the main reason it is because Lisa did this last year and she got an M2 Max, and I was so pissed off I had to say I'm going to get an M3 Max. My wife did the same thing, and rightly so. So this is the new M3 MacBook Pro. I was kind of waiting for the M3. Mm-hmm. And one thing I have to say is one of the reasons I was waiting for the M3 is this is the first processor from Apple in a computer that is a 3-nanometer process. This is important to understand. The way chips work, unlike everything else in the world, the smaller they get, the more powerful they get, and the less power they need, less energy they need to do their work. And so every time you get a step to a new node like this, it should be a big improvement in both performance and energy use. And I was waiting for the 3-nanometer. Am I thrilled? No, it's not as big a jump as I thought it would be. Is it easily the fastest computer I've ever used? Yes. Is it the most kind of elegant expression of a computing device? Yes. And that's one of the reasons that I was very attracted to this. Is this the black notice? It's not black when I tilt it into the light, because what makes it look dark is actually, and there's a great piece in iFixit on this finish they use and how it reflects light. Mm-hmm. So when it gets to the position where it can reflect light, it's actually, kind of a medium gray. But it doesn't reflect light very well, and so as you tilt it, it gets darker and darker. It is a nice look, don't you think?
It is a very nice look, absolutely.
They also solved the problem with the midnight blue MacBook Airs of fingerprints. Not 100%.
It's not solved, but they addressed it.
It's not
right?
nearly as bad.
Yeah.
In fact, normally I carry my MacBook Air in a case because it's so, fingerprint magnetic. You can see, I've been handling this. It's not covered with fingerprints. It's a little bit smooshy. Easy to clean off, though. Mm-hmm. I had an Air, and I was feeling not great about the screen. The screen on this is, I think, a lot better than this screen in the Air. This is Apple's True Tone P3 color gamut. It really does a great job of reproduction. It goes up to 120 hertz, so it's very smooth scrolling. I feel like this is a notably better screen, and I did this by sitting it side by side with my M2 MacBook Air, and it really is a difference in color and reproduction. It just looks great. Now, let's talk a little bit about speed, though. I'm going to close out a few of the applications I've got running here because I want to Now, battery life, when you just do normal things with this, is as good as it was on the MacBook Air. It's, you're getting 11 hours all day battery life. Excellent battery life. But I have to say, the one of the things Apple's done with this is they've reduced the number, as we were talking earlier, of efficiency cores. This is designed to be powerful and fast. Furthermore, it's designed to do it without regard to energy use.
Okay.
So that when you want speed and power, it's going to eat through the battery. I'll show you Baldur's Gate. Okay, this is a popular game. It's on Steam, and it was designed. Let's close out again a few of these other things. It was designed to. I have a lot of stuff running. That's the other thing. I got 64 gigs of RAM, so I can have a lot of things. I'm going to close out my email. There we go. Now we can play Baldur's Gate. No, I unplugged that, John. There's a reason I unplugged it, because I want to hold it. John's crawling over. You can look over my shoulder. It actually looks better. So I was playing Baldur's Gate, which is a great game. It is a modern game that is designed simultaneously for the PC and the Mac, and that's one of the reasons I'm playing it. There are not a lot of those.
Right, exactly.
There are not a lot of those. This is one of them. It does load noticeably faster. Oops. Hello. Oh, it crashed. Well, how about that, huh? Let me do it again. I haven't had that happen. It loads noticeably faster, except when it doesn't, and it runs beautifully and I set this at the maximum.
Really?
Oh, I know. I
didn't
crash. I closed Steam. That was a mistake. There we go. It runs beautifully, but it runs about 2 hours before you have to plug it in. It is not because they're turning up all the power.
Yes, and this was something that they did make note of in the keynote, was that it runs at the same video speed. Like, the video is just as good whether you're plugged in or not. Unlike most Macs, when you unplug them, they do drop everything.
Right.
They're not doing that with the new
Very
MacBook
important.
Pros.
So they've designed this to really be a beast when you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And when you're not doing things that are demanding, it does not particularly use the energy.
Notably, you have, as is always the case with MacBook Pros, the speaker grills on the side, unlike the MacBook Air. So you've got those on the left and right side.
The sound is so much better. This has more speakers, and that was another thing, by the way. It just purely in terms of, user convenience, having great sound and a great screen. And by the way, keyboard and trackpad are top in class. They always have been on Macs, right? But this feels like it. And I think it looks pretty nice on that dark gray background. This is the game running at the top frame rate, by the way, the top quality.
No
everything.
jitter.
No jitter.
Lag.
Beautifully. It runs beautifully. But 2 hours later, I had to plug it in. So but I don't think that's unusual.
No, that's
I think you'd expect
problem.
that on a PC as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I would expect to be sitting at a PC on a PC, not using a laptop in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I plugged this into my 55-inch OLED display. Ooh. It can run multiple 6K displays. That's one of the advantages on this. They now have, if you buy the top of the line, that's the other reason I didn't get the lower down version of the M3 Max or the M3 Pro. I want all of the ports. It has an HDMI port. It has three Thunderbolt 4 ports. I'll show you the two on the other side. An SD card reader. I like that too. That's something missing.
It's so nice to have that just built in.
2 more Thunderbolt 4 ports. I have the Thunderbolt 4 dock from CalDigit. Mm-hmm. Runs beautifully. Can plug into that. Powers it. Will run multiple monitors. It has DisplayPort. There's the MagSafe adapter. Yes, it does come with a braided black cable. if you care about that at a high cost, that uses the memory well. I would say, as we were talking earlier, having 64 gigs is nice.
Yeah.
You want to feel how hot it got from running Baldur's Gate?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's quite warm.
But do you hear fans? You didn't hear fans,
No, I didn't hear
you?
fans.
Their fans turn on, but they're nice and quiet.
They're just very quiet, yeah.
This gets quite warm. This is, this is running a AAA title in the highest possible graphics.
And it just resumed, too. That's quite nice.
Oh, did you see that? Instant.
Yeah. Foom.
I really have to say, Apple has notice I'm not doing benchmarks because I don't think benchmarks fully reflect the experience a user has. I'm shutting down Steam now. So it's not about benchmarks when it comes to you sitting down at it. It's what you're doing with it, and it's how it feels. Shall I show you Windows?
That would be great.
All right. Runs Windows better than any PC I've ever had. It is truly remarkable. Let's see how I can run this. It runs Windows in both. I'm using Parallels, of course. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I don't do it that often, so I don't remember. I'm not a big PC user, remember?
Yeah. Do you have more on here just as proof of concept, or are there apps that you do end up wanting to use?
It's pretty much proof of concept. There's nothing I really want Windows to be running. But notice, by the way, in my launcher, I have things like Windows PowerShell. I can run Windows applications standalone. In fact, let me launch that, just show you how quickly I can get into Windows 11. There we go. Oh, there's Windows running.
Yeah,
there's PowerShell running.
Sounds. Yeah.
It has turned it into a full screen Windows machine in, how was that, 5 seconds flat?
Very fast.
This thing runs Windows, like I said, better than any PC.
Edge?
Well, I don't really want to run Edge, but I will for you. I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
Continue without this data. Oh, you have to do a lot of stuff. Customize, express, so forth. You see how fast all this stuff is loading?
Yeah, it's just loading immediately.
It's immediate. And that's the subjective experience that no benchmark will show you. This feels responsive. Let me show you another example. That's Windows. I'll keep Windows running. I got enough RAM. That's another reason why I got 64 gigs of RAM, is so that you can keep Windows running. And I just slide over. Oh, I'm on a Mac. Oh, I'm on a PC. Oh, I'm on a Mac. I'm going to run Whisper. Whisper AI is do you see how fast that loaded, by the way? I just want to point that out. I'm going to open up a file, and we'll transcribe Mac Break Weekly from this week. So this is MP3, so the first thing it has to do, it converts it. Jason Snell pointed this out. This is the Whisper runs orders of magnitude, seems like, faster on this processor than any other. Because it really, and if you look at the CPU usage, in fact, let me launch Activity Monitor while we're doing this, so we can see everything. Just does that feel?
Snappy.
There's something. Benchmark can express how that felt.
Exactly. That is very much something that you just have to show and talk about.
It works with you. It does. It does what you want to do. I'm going to keep the CPU monitor window open here. CPU usage. We'll close out that other one. Oh, it's already going. And let's see here. These are the CPUs. Now, notice there's 16 of these, almost all pegged. In other words,
so this uses CPU and not GPU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whisper, well, it might use GPU. I don't have, actually, let me go back to Activity Monitor.
Yeah, I can't remember if that one does it or if that's only an iStat.
GPU history doesn't show usage exactly. But we'll just get that window up anyway. So this uses all of these, makes a big difference in overall performance, right? I don't know if it's using the GPU. I think we'd see the same thing. This has 40 core GPU cores. If we were looking at this while we were playing Baldur's Gate, for instance, we'd probably see similar GPU activity.
Because that's the thing, they will use as much as is available, right? Regardless of what's going on.
This is transcribing in a little bit better than real time. I'm using the giant, biggest data.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is the most accurate translation Whisper does, but it's a 3 gigabyte model. It's the largest model they offer. It does a great job.
And it's a 2.5-hour file.
Yeah. And it's doing it a little faster than 1X. I could use a smaller model and do it even faster than that. So yeah, it's 5% done in the 2-hour show. So it's pretty snappy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that
running Windows.
While it's still running Windows in the background. That's another thing to keep in mind is you're now going to be doing more things that you thought you weren't going to challenge this computer. For instance, you're going to be doing more AI stuff. That used all of the CPUs on this thing. You may say, well, I'm not launching rocket ships. I'm not Alex Lindsay doing photogrammetry. True, but more and more we're going to start using these AI apps that will, in fact, challenge the computer. So that's the other reason to maybe overbuy. Now, this is very, very pricey. As equipped, this is a $4,800 computer. I bought Apple Care as well, so put it over the $5,000 mark. So it's not cheap. And probably most of you would do better, just as well with a MacBook Air.
Yeah, exactly.
Would not turn my nose up at it. Or a base model M3, or as our friend Martin in Germany did, an M3 Pro. I'm glad I could afford this, because this is the best computing experience I've ever had. This is snappier, easier to use. It doesn't get in the way.
Yeah, you can take it with you whenever you go to visit your mother. It's everything you need in a device that you can take wherever. Yeah, and it's Windows too.
And it's one of the reasons I bought more RAM, but it's also one of the reasons I bought more hard drive, because the downside of all Apple gear is it's not upgradable. So I got a 4 terabyte hard drive, so I'd have enough room for Windows, for some games, for some high end stuff. If you're saying to yourself, is it worth $5,000 for a computer? Divide that by the number of years you're going to get out of it.
There you go.
Amortize it. And ask yourself, if I get 5 years out of this, it's $1,000 a year. It's about, what is that, $300 a month? $500 a month? I don't know. I can't do the math. I need a computer. That's what I'm saying. I think it's less than $500 a month. It's $100 a month.
Yeah,
well, less than $100.
Less than $100 a month, because
is it worth $100 a month to you? Will it save you $100 worth of your time if you're using your computer for work? That's more of the question to ask than, do I need a $5,000 computer? No one needs a $5,000 computer, but is it worth it? It might well be. So, overall thoughts on this? I love the finish. What do you think?
Oh, I like the finish a lot. Yeah.
No, I think
especially after reading the iFixit thing, which I'm sure
what
link to.
they've done is this is what I love about Apple. They do things that you just don't even know behind the scenes that are crazy.
Right. They didn't take time on the stage to go through that whole process and talk about what they did.
What they're doing. Apple Silicon is a miracle. We'll see what Qualcomm does later this in 2024, but Apple Silicon is a miracle. The way this works, the way it uses power when it needs it, the way it sips at energy when it doesn't, all of this is so elegantly designed. Now, there are little things that I don't like that Apple does. I think that they really blew it on the system settings pane. That's crazy to use the iPhone system preference pane on a big screen like this.
That's the most frustrating thing. Yeah,
they're not perfect. Stage Manager, waste of time. I don't use it.
Yep.
But when they do get it right, they really get
widgets
it right.
on the desktop, I really enjoy.
You notice I'm a widgets kind of fanatic. That's a new thing. I got my calendar on the desktop. I've got the weather on the desktop. I have the time on the desktop, but more importantly, I have UTC.
Nice.
You know, I'm always doing that silly UTC calculation.
Yes, you are.
So I thought it'd be nice to actually see a UTC clock
smart
on here. Everything that they've done with Mac OS Sonoma, everything they've done with the Apple Silicon, and everything they've done with the externals of this thing, it is not much redesigned from last year. In fact, the only new feature is the color. But I thought they got it right last year.
I think so too.
And I love
design is great.
3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. This thing, frankly, it's a Mac Pro in a portable.
It really is.
Form factor. So absolutely, highly recommend it. Yes, it's expensive. Why did I get the top of the line? By the way, I could have spent another couple of $1,000 by an 8 terabyte hard drive and 128 gigs of RAM. Those are the two things I didn't max out. I did max out the processor, though. Got the M3 Max, top of the line, and I love it. So, is this a lust-worthy object? Yes. Does it make sense? Well, you'll have to make the judgment on that. You'll have to divide it by the number of years and the number of hours it's going to save you. Does it make sense for me? Absolutely not. Is it a satisfying object of technology lust? Wow. Yes. Apple has once again nailed it. They are amazing. And this is the computer. When I read William Gibson's Neuromancer, And he had a kind of a beat up computer that had the entire world's information, the Library of Congress on it. And he could jack into it and he could transport himself to the metaverse and all that. This is the closest thing. I always wanted that computer. This is the closest thing to that. They've done a great job. And I'm going to put a big old sticker on it. I'm going to get it all beat up. I'm not putting a case on this guy. This one's going naked. Commando. So thank you, Apple, for really, I think, thinking about Mac users and giving Mac users what we've wanted all along. As I said earlier, I've owned a Mac since 1984. I've had almost every Mac out there, including some very bad designs like the trash can Mac. This one nails it. Good job, Apple. MacBook Pro, M3 Max, 4 terabytes of storage, 64 gigs of RAM, basically $5,000. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. That's my thumbnail review of that. Yeah, but it's hard to. It's you read all the articles, you go read all the benchmarks, and it doesn't capture what really these objects are about. It's a very dry way of thinking about these. This is as much an emotional object.
Always.
As anything else. It's not just a calculator.
And for me, what's wild to me is that I do feel differently about the Mac than I do about the iPhone. I think maybe because the iPhone gets changed out
That's
so much.
That's much more utilitarian.
Yeah, you
in
don't
a way,
make
right?
as much of a connection with it.
Yeah.
But I love this MacBook Air so much.
Yeah.
It is such a great machine. It's so lightweight, but it's still so powerful. And there is something about the powerful device that we have that helps us get the stuff done that we do.
I have the MacBook Air, both the 16 and the 32, and I have a great appreciation for those. Those are great devices.
16 and 14, right?
14, not 32. I don't know why I said 32. 16 and 14. Actually, 13.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, and then I made a big mistake. I put it next to Lisa's 14-inch MacBook Pro, the M2 Max from last year, and it took some of this. Don't ever put this next to your machine.
Yeah, you keep it over there.
Some of the joy out of it. I thought, it's the speakers aren't quite as good. It's not that it's bad,
right?
And it's so
Well,
light.
the screen
it makes up for what it lacks with this lightness and thinness.
Yeah.
But the lack of ports, the slightly lower quality screen, the slightly lower quality audio, was enough to say, I treated myself.
Yeah.
This is the ice cream cone of computers. And I'm very happy.
The ice cream cone of computers.
Yeah. Parallels runs so well. I mean, I can't, if I were, honestly, we're running Windows in emulation. I don't know. I couldn't think of what I should put on here to show you how well it runs. But it just runs beautifully. This is a nice Windows machine. Honestly, this is what I should be using for this show so I'd have access to the Windows and the Mac in one computer. But I don't want to give it up. There's some GPU history. You notice it really didn't use much of the GPU when I was doing Whisper. This is the GPU window. And it's not using much CPU right now.
Nope.
I put some RAM up and see what the RAM usage looks like. Let's see. Do I have a RAM window? Maybe I don't. I guess not. I like those little activity monitor windows. Here, you can look at it. I mean, actually, this is the reason I'm not an expert on this is what I usually use is a terminal-based program called BTOP. So I'll open that up, and this is what I like to look at. What I found interesting as I'm using this computer is it pretty much uses all the RAM. Like right now, it's using 59 gigabytes of RAM. Doesn't matter even what I'm running. But that's good. That's good memory management. It's using the RAM. It's saying, you got it, I'm going to use it.
Absolutely.
I'll free it up if you need it. I don't think that's particularly Windows, but it's using almost all the RAM. There's very little RAM it's not using. It doesn't use all the CPUs. It's only using those are probably the efficiency cores, C0 through 3. I would bet those are the efficiency
I bet
core,
you're right, yeah. Because it's only doing efficiency
sitting
things
there
right now.
Yeah, right? Let's turn Windows on, see if let's open Edge. See if that slows it down a little bit. Okay, now I got Edge running. Let's see if anything else is happening. No. It just hums right along. A little more CPU usage, but not much. It's just, yeah, you see the performance cores have kicked in, but not much. All that to show that some $2 bills are worth more than others. All right. Should I take a break? What should I do? Tell me what.
Is it break time?
Is it time?
It's time.
It's time for a break. And then when we come back, we'll take some more calls. What do you say, kids?
I say, let's do it.
What do you say? I have to open up the... I should show you the silly things I'm doing now. Incidentally. Setting this up, I decided to do everything, kind of do everything right, redo everything. For instance, and you sent me this article. Guy says, why do you download it to the downloads folder?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you download it to the temp folder where it'll be there, but not for a little, just temporarily, and then it'll be erased. And so I had to go look in the temp folder for the commercial. Our show today brought to you by Delete Me. Reclaim. Oh, this is good. Lisa uses this. Have you ever searched for your name? Don't do this. Do not do this because it's horrifying. Online, you search for your name and you see how much personal information, your net worth, your home, what you bought your home for, where you live, your phone numbers, your everything, your age. It's all online. If that makes you feel exposed, you're not alone. Since 2010, Delete Me has been on a mission to empower individuals and organizations by allowing them to reclaim their privacy and help them remove personal data from online sources. They know all the data brokers. They know one by one how to remove your data. They know how to keep the data off because that's a little trick data brokers have. They go, oh, you didn't want us to store that? Okay, fine. They delete it. And then 2 weeks later, it's fully repopulated. Nope, not with Delete Me. They make sure it stays deleted. Their team is driven by a passion for privacy and a commitment to make it simple for you to use. Delete Me helps reduce risk from identity theft, from credit card theft, from robocalls and spam, from harassment, unwanted communications overall. And can I tell you, if you are in a business, it also improves your cybersecurity. We started using Delete Me when many of our staff got an emergency text message from Lisa, the CEO, saying, I'm in a meeting right now. I need you to send me, I can't remember what it was.
It's Apple. They want you to buy Apple gift cards.
Can you send me some Apple gift cards? Now, fortunately, you guys are well trained. But how did they know who Lisa was and who worked for Lisa? I can tell you right now. They learned that from data brokers, from online sources, from searching Google. And this is why it's important for your cybersecurity, too. Your executive suite is the best target for spear phishing, and the best way for bad guys to get that information is online. Delete Me reduces that risk. That's why we started using it. Delete Me is the most trusted privacy solution available. It helps thousands of customers remove their personal information online. The average person has about 2,000 pieces of data about them online. Delete Me knows where they are and can remove them for good. One customer said, I signed up and they took it from there. Awesome service, already seeing results. Here's how it works. Now, you are going to have to, and I know some people said, well, I don't want to do that. But this is you have to give them a little bit of personal information so they know what to look for. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't just say, can you delete me without saying who you are? So you're going to sign up. It's basic personal information. And this company is really good. You can trust them. So that's how they're going to find this information. Not just with search engines. Delete Me experts will find and remove your personal information from hundreds of data brokers. That's really the most important one. Helping remove your online footprint and keeping you and your family safe. Once the removal process starts, you're going to get a detailed report within 7 days, but it doesn't stop there, and this is really key. Delete Me will continue to scan and remove your personal information every 3 months. And with automated removal opt-out monitoring, this is the key, they will ensure records don't get repopulated after being removed. We're talking name, address, photos, emails, relatives, phone numbers, social media, property value, and more. And it's completely illegal until Congress outlaws the data broker industry. You're going to need Delete Me. Delete Me continues to add new brokers, new sites, new features to ensure Their service is both simple to use and effective in removing PII, personally identifiable information. They have privacy advisors too, because everybody has different needs and different exposures, and they will ensure that you get the support you need when you need it, the information you need. I love this company. They're doing the job everybody should do. Protect yourself, reclaim your privacy. The website, joindeleteme.com/twit. The offer code is TWIT. Joindeleteme.com/twit. The offer code is TWIT for 20% off. Lisa started using them, I think, about a year ago. It's just, if you're an executive or you're a manager, frankly, in any company, you need this to protect your company. Delete Me. Joindeleteme.com/twit. The offer code TWIT for 20% off. Okay. I'm getting tired of talking.
Well, then let's have someone else talk to us.
Well, we can have him talk, or we can do a voicemail, email.
Oh, we haven't had any voicemails.
Yeah, we didn't do a voicemail. I think a voicemail will be good.
Hello, it's Mo from Irondale, Ontario, Canada.
Hi, Mo.
Got a quick call here. I just purchased my dad's first cell phone. He's 80 years old, smartphone.
Been through that.
He's doing okay with it.
Good.
A little frustrated at times. With his fat fingers, he tends to turn things on and off and doesn't know he does it. Do not disturb, so I can't call him.
Oh, no.
He doesn't see or hear. I'll put on Bluetooth and it's pairing with something, so when I call, he can't hear a thing because the volume's going to there. So, anyways, my question is there a setting or an app or a guest mode that I can install on his phone where none of those settings can be changed?
Wouldn't that be great?
Unless maybe with a password. So like if he accidentally hits Do Not Disturb, it won't allow it. That way it's basic and even something that could keep the volume up, because he tends to just push button, and then there's no sound, there's no whatever. So I'm just very curious. I've done some quick searches for it and not much, but see what you pros feel. And Leo, I've been a fan of yours. I've been watching you since early 2000s when my daughter was born.
Oh.
Anyways, thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mo.
Yeah, Mo, this is a great question.
So what he didn't say, the one
What
thing that would have been
phone?
useful,
Yeah.
is it was Android or iOS.
Yeah, if it's an iOS phone, screen time is where you can actually disable almost every setting to be changed.
And that's intended for kids.
Yes.
But it happens to work for elders, too.
Absolutely. And so within screen time, there are all of these settings. You can set up a passcode first and foremost. Do not forget that passcode. I think it's one of the most commonly searched things on the internet is bypass screen time password. Don't forget that password, but it will lock so many settings. On Android, I've heard of some kind of
Samsung has an easy mode. I don't know if they have anything quite as complete as that.
Yeah, because the way that people have been able to do it is by installing profiles and stuff, and that stuff gets a little bit too. I don't know. That's too far for me, I guess.
There's a couple of things to look at anyway. On Samsung, Samsung has its own store, and they have a very nice app that everybody on Samsung should use that gives you additional features that for some reason they don't put in the operating system, which is kind of weird. And now it's escaping me the name of it, of course. I'll get that in a second. Google phones, I don't know if they have anything like that, but I would look at child features, child protection features, and see.
Launcher.
Yeah.
Especially.
There's a program called Tasker, which is very useful on Android that lets you it's basically an automation feature, but you could use Tasker to say, don't turn off the Bluetooth when anytime between 11:59 or rather midnight to 11:59 p.m. Don't allow the Bluetooth to be turned off. Things like that. So Tasker would allow you, but with considerable effort because you'd have to go through all those settings manually.
I guess Android does have some digital well-being features. Thank you, John. That are
Same
essentially
idea.
like screen time.
Yeah. Good luck. Thank you. Walking Black Bear in our IRC. Good luck is what Good Luck is. It's in the Samsung store, and then it has a bunch of modules that you can add. And I have a feeling there's some good lock stuff in Samsung that will let you lock it down. Samsung has an easy mode. That's the first thing to do. It's got big buttons. It's easier to use. And then look at installing Good Lock and using some of the features in Good Lock. Good Lock has a whole bunch of extra stuff. Everybody who has a Samsung phone should have Good Lock on their phone. For sure.
Go. Good Lock.
Yeah.
Good question.
Thank you, Walking Black Bear.
And yes, thank you.
If that's your real name.
If that is.
I'm a little scared of Walking Black Bear. Maybe he noticed I have a lot of nice bear pictures, though. On my photo album.
In fact, recognized himself or herself.
Maybe that's why he's here.
In one of the photos.
Here's for people who want to, for completeness in the Galaxy Store. This is the app you want, and it does a whole bunch of stuff. You'll download additional Good Lock modules, and it's free.
All right. Are we out of time? Do we have time for?
Let's do more. More is always good. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you, Mo.
I won't say anything about Larry and Curly because I know that you expect me to.
You want to work your rotator cuff?
Yeah. He's talking about reaching over to the mailbox.
Yes, he's going to reach into the mailbox to pull out an email.
An email from some listener. We'll go through. How about we do
okay, let's try to do a lightning round. All right.
Lightning
we can do this. Neither of us
sharing photos. William Bill says, I have a question about the best way to share display photos. Many old photos would like to get input on who it is from relatives. Like, who's that?
Oh.
And I was thinking of a web page. I thought you might have know of a better way to do it. I'd like to display the photo and then allow comments from family so I can get a more accurate record of who's in the photo and when it was taken. A couple of ways to do that.
Yes.
Mileo will do that.
Mileo will do that,
our sponsor.
which is great because they're a sponsor. If you are in the Apple ecosystem, you can create a shared album that everyone has access to, and it works like a little social media network. You can put little comments below it. Everybody can comment on it. If you're not, Flickr would be another place.
Google Photos will do that as well.
In
fact, Mike Elgin's done that. He calls it, he's his replacement for Facebook, Mike's Nice Book.
Oh.
And you can go there, leave comments, things like that. That was Uncle Joe in 1952, driving his favorite Camaro, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
There are actually a lot of ways to do that nowadays. That's a very common use. One more thing I'd add is many of the genealogy programs have features like that. And that might even be more on point if you get Ancestry.com or one of the other genealogy tools. You can share photo albums, get people's input. The best way to do genealogy is to get the older people in your family to say, oh, yeah, I remember him. He was no good. This is Martin. We already answered your question, Martin. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a real lightning round.
That was a lightning round. That one's over. This one is from Peter. Hello, Peter. I've recently purchased a mesh Wi-Fi system.
Okay.
As you know. Micah uses the Eero.
I do.
I'm looking for the best location to position the satellites so as to eliminate dead spots. He's also read that it's a good idea to keep router and satellites away from you, especially when you sleep. No, I wouldn't worry about that. But you are a barrier to them,
That's
so
the
keep them
only
up
thing,
in the
yes.
air. But they're not going to harm you. It's non-ionizing radiation. It doesn't harm your body. Well, some of the comments I've seen say it's non-ionizing radiation and place them wherever you want. But many more from seemingly credible medical sources say they should be kept 25 to 30 feet from where you sleep. There's no evidence of this.
There you go.
It's not unreasonable to say, well, if you can do.
Yeah. Why not? I also try to sleep far away from airports.
I don't
even know where
airports.
Just thinking of airplane crashes. How rare those are.
They're more likely to crash near the airport.
Yeah, if you're right next to it.
It's on your bedside table. Is anything there that has electronics in it? That's radiating. In some cases, actual harmful radiation. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, worry more about the black mold in the bathroom.
Yeah, black mold. There's something to worry about. I think the best idea is not to get your health advice from the internet.
Amen.
So now let me give you some advice about placement. Best thing to do, and unfortunately you can't do this on an iPhone, but you can do it on your laptop or on an Android device. They have Wi-Fi analyzer programs that will let you walk around and analyze the Wi-Fi strength. And there's even some, I think it's called, bad name on Android, Wi-Fi analyzer, that will make a map of your layout that you can then see the hot spots, the cold spots, and that will give you a much better idea of where to put Wi-Fi access points.
Yeah, because it's different. It's not as if we can say, always place it here. 30 degrees to the left of the refrigerator.
No, it has a lot to do with other things that are going to block it. Wi-Fi Analyzer is available on Windows as well as on Android, and it is a very useful tool. I think it's free. There's in-app purchases. But if you search for Wi-Fi Analyzer, you'll see a lot of other tools that look the same, maybe even have the same name. But what I would really look for is something that lets you do a map of your house. So it's one thing to go into the room and say, well, in this corner it's -4, but in this corner it's -8. I'm trying to remember the one that I've used to do mapping. Before we put in our Ubiquiti system, we actually went around and mapped the whole house.
When you say we, do you mean people came and did it? Or?
Yeah.
Got it.
So I used a third party to do that. NetSpot, thank you, Scooter X. Open Signals NetSpot, that's free too, I think. That's a very good choice.
Wireshark works, doesn't it? Doesn't it have a tool?
Yeah, I mean, these are higher end hacking tools. Open Signal.
Oh yeah, NetSpots.
Yeah, Open Signal is the company that actually puts out information about cellular signals, but they apparently have also a tool called NetSpot. It's for Android, the best Wi-Fi analyzer.
Wow, yeah, the way that it's showing the map of the space and it shows.
That's what you want, right?
I kind of want to do this.
Yeah,
now.
you want to see what your house looks like.
Because basically what I did in mine, remember 3-story shoebox, it's the top floor where my office/studio is. That's where my router is. The second floor has a satellite, and then the bottom floor, which is also the garage, has a satellite. So for mine, it was easy because I wanted each floor to have something. But depending on how your home is laid out, it's going to be different. So yeah, this tool is pretty
My guess
powerful.
is this is what the people who came in and mapped my house
probably used.
Because this is often used by pros. Look at that! Wouldn't you love that heat map?
I know. That's why I think I'm going to do it.
So nice to have
home.
a heat map of your house. I mean, that's the ideal. Now, what do most people do? You go, well, let's put it here, see how it works, and then if it doesn't, you move it around a little bit.
Yeah, unplug.
The most important thing is where the base station is. Mm-hmm. Again, as we said, get it high up because Wi-Fi doesn't go through human water bags very well. So get it above people's heads, and it's more likely to reach. Make sure, going through walls is always hard, especially for 5G. For 2.4 gigahertz, it's not so bad, but for 5 gigahertz, it's hard. Metal is the worst. So if you've got metal in your walls, that's the worst thing. But I guess this would be the best way to do it is to use NetSpot and map it all out. The other thing you'll see, by the way, with these, it's very valuable, is how strong the neighbors are.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes
that can be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be on the same frequencies or the same bands, more importantly, the same channels as your neighbors. So you're going to use this to also adjust your channels to keep away from the neighbor's Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a collision-based network, so if there's other traffic on the same channel, on the same band, it's going to slow you down because as soon as your signal sees somebody else there, it goes, oh, pardon me, excuse me, let me step back. It waits a random amount of time, then tries again. If it's still there, it goes, oh, I'm sorry. I'll knock next time. And then it says, oh, no, I didn't want to see that. And on and on. So you get much better performance with Wi-Fi if you are not on the same channel as the neighbors and other interfering Wi-Fi signals. So there's some good tips in there. Okay. Anything else? Are we done?
I think we're done.
Well, I thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. A reminder, we will continue to do the live stream for this show on YouTube. So you'll always be able to go to youtube.com/ we'll be doing it on youtube.com/twit. I think we will. Yeah, let's do it there. And so you'll always be able to go there. And I guess when we do that, it'll show up on techguylabs.com or not. We haven't really thought about this. Didn't think this through. But we do want you to watch. We love it that you watch. Thank you. We also love it that you download. Thank you for that as well. All the information you need about watching the show is at techguylabs.com. The broadcast time is about 11:11 a.m. Pacific, and we end around 1:33 p.m. Pacific every Sunday. The reason that's important, there's two reasons. One, if you want to watch live, but two, more importantly, if you want to call, because you can't really call during the rest of the time. You can call and leave a message, but if you want to talk to us, it has to be when we're doing the show, right? So again, between 11 and 2 Pacific time, that is 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's 1900 UTC. That's when we do it live. After the fact, of course, go to techguylabs.com. You'll see links to your favorite podcast clients. You'll see a link to your YouTube channel, and you'll see the actual shows themselves. You can watch there or download there. There's audio and video of the show. Best thing to do would be subscribe in Pocket Casts or one of your favorite podcast clients, because that way you'll get it automatically. There was a very nice gentleman used to work at Coors named Ralph. Called us about 24 times, actually. Lisa said, this guy keeps calling. Could you talk to him? Please? So I called him back. Hi, Ralph. I said, where are you from? He said, Golden. He said, hey, that's where Coors is. He said, yeah, worked there for 30 years. So I said, well, that's good. So we used to get trucks of Coors beer delivered every once in a while because we couldn't get it in California. He said, yeah, that was my coworkers. They would go to the company store, stock up on Coors, drive to where they wanted to go for vacation, sell all the Coors, then go on vacation with the money they made.
What? Is that
Ralph,
illegal?
I'm thrilled to know that. It was,
Sorry, I should have asked.
Quasi-legal. Well, that's a silly question. I don't know. Anyway, Ralph was having trouble. He joined the club. Thank you, Ralph. We appreciate it. But he said, but I can't figure out how to download it. And it turned out he was on Linux, and so I said, do you have a podcast app? He said, yeah, he's using GPotter. So I was able to explain, when you join the club, you're going to get a list, a page with all your links, and you just copy the link into GPotter or your podcast client. And that way you can still subscribe, but you don't get the ads. Ralph was very happy. If you're listening, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Send us some Coors. No, you don't have to. Not anymore. I actually took a tour of the Coors plant when I visited my son. A Coors tour. I have a picture of Henry and his friends and their dads. It was a father-son.
Oh, that's fun.
Tour of the Coors plant some years ago when he was at CU Boulder. What else should I say? What else should we say? I told him how to watch. Mm-hmm. Did you tell him how to get a hold of us?
Well, yeah. If you want to call us, 888-724-2884. Yes, you can call us anytime with that phone number. Yeah. During the show, you will be brought into a room, then get to come up live on air and ask your question. But if you call that number during the week, you can leave a voicemail like a friend Mo did earlier, which is great. You can also get in touch with us by going to ATG, by emailing us at atg@twit.tv. When you email atg@twit.tv with your text or your audio or your video, we will see that as well and be able to answer your question. Or also during the show, head to call.twit.tv. We suggest on your smartphone.
Yeah.
That will bring you into the Zoom room where you can hang out and wait to have your question taken live on the air.
And we should mention, club members will always continue to watch live because it's going to be in the Discord still. And we're just trying to cut costs everywhere. Lisa just messaged me. She said, I see you have 3 cell phone accounts and they're adding up. Can you get rid of any of them? I mean, if you think it's a hardship not getting a live stream, imagine me. I got to cut off all my cell phone access. Well, I did that because I wanted to know how all of them. Actually, I have more than 3. She just hasn't only found 3. But we're cutting costs here. We have to, and I'm sorry. I wish we didn't. I would love it if I had an infinite amount of money, in which case we would not be turning off the live stream, but we're kind of trying to make ends meet, as one does. We appreciate your understanding and your support, and we thank you for being here. We will see you next time on Ask the Tech Guys. Meanwhile, I'm Leo Laporte.
And I'm Micah Sargent.
Wishing you a great Geek Week.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Rod Pyle, Editor-in-Chief of Ad Astra Magazine, and each week I join with my co-host to bring you This Week in Space, the latest and greatest news from the final frontier. We talk to NASA chiefs, space scientists, engineers, educators, and artists, and sometimes we just shoot the breeze over what's hot and what's not in space, books, and TV. And we do it all for you, our fellow true believers. So whether you're an armchair adventurer or waiting for your turn to grab a slot in Elon's Mars rocket, join us on This Week in Space and be part of the greatest adventure of all time.